Let's have everyone rise and I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How is everyone doing?
Doing good, how are
Everyone
you?
doing good?
We don't have to hook into the town anymore, is that true?
The old IT system is no longer functional, so we are now blessed by our friends who were here previously.
Great.
And it's good to see you again.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, it's the most watched TV anyways, it's really good.
Absolutely, especially with that hat.
It's the only one I had in my truck, I wiped out my hat, well, all right. Let's approve minutes.
I'm present, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm present also.
I am physically present.
Excellent. We have one set of minutes to approve. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the October 14th meeting of the Board of Water and Sewer Commission.
I second.
All in favor?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry. Good to see you. See you too. Sorry, I just drove up from New York.
Work, hope you feel better.
Cold.
We'll go right down the line. Sure. We'll go right to 260 South Washington.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Carl's
close
right by
warehouse.
Okay.
We have people here?
Yeah,
Okay,
260,
quick.
yeah. How are you?
Come on up here and state your name. And,
I pull a chair up? Sure. Hi, everybody.
how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm Garrett Horsfall with Kelly Engineering Group, and this is John Gallagher, the applicant of the proposed project with unit cold storage. So, I know the commission has seen this project probably a couple months ago, I believe. We're permitting currently a freezer facility, this portion of the site. We have received all the approvals, and one thing that came up is that the town has a 12-inch water main basically straddling the property line on the
But we didn't even we got approvals and everything, we
Yeah.
were filing for permits, we were ready to start construction, and all of a sudden, we were talking to the old, let me introduce myself, my name's John Gallagher, I grew up in Sturbridge, Mass, went to SMU, UMass in North Dartmouth. I worked for Condyne when it was started back in the early 80s, with Don O'Neill, Jeff O'Neill, and Fred O'Neill, and all those guys. I guess the two sons are running now, and Don passed away. So I'm very familiar with the history of Crane's Landing, and Taunton, and Mouse Danish, and Norton, and New England Ice Cream, and the Cape Cod Pizza guys, and everyone else that's in those buildings. And I used to own Condyne freezers, and then I was Preferred Freezers. I know Norton, my wife knows Norton, she grew up in Brockton.
Pretty busy.
She grew up in Brockton, and this site has been a bitch. I know the guy that owns this easement, John Carroll, and everything that on with this billboard, I've had to deal with them. We have to deal with the fact that we just got this 20-foot easement. The reason this land hasn't sold is because it's one strange shape.
Yep,
It's
sure
got a
is.
swamp, which is no big deal, except it's a swamp right in the middle of a really tight spot.
Yeah.
Then you got this 20-foot easement, which makes very, very narrow, even very, very narrower. And the only drawing we had ever seen for the water line was something that we got from Condyne when we were seeing if we could tie in the sewer main instead of putting in septic, because it's a private sewer line. So they said they'll let us tie in. So we were good, and then they gave us a drawing for the tie, and I go, what the hell is that? And they go, oh, there's a water line there. I said, oh, that's okay. It's on the property line, it goes just like this. And then nah, we're not so sure. And then someone was good enough from the town to call us. I don't know, is that one of you guys?
It very well could have been me.
Yeah, called and said, hey, I know there's a line back there. You guys, and that's what we all said to each other, oh shit, what do you mean there's a line? And then, so then we find out it wasn't put in straight like this, and it zigzags like this, but then it zigzags a little here, and it starts to get close to the back of the building. So that's when we all said, oh shit. And title companies didn't find it, no engineers had drawings for it. So I just want you to understand, it's not here to fight, didn't bring a lawyer, it's not, this is, we got a problem together. What's the best way to fix it? That's all I want to do is, what do you think the best way to fix it is? What are our options to fix it? What's the easiest way? We will grant you the easements, we're not here to fight. It's, how do we fix this so we can get under construction? Because we wanted to be building already. So that's, we're just here to figure out what's the best way. Leave it in place and we can figure out how close. My problem, one was, obviously,
That's for that building that's over there, right?
this is for Spears, yes.
Correct, yes.
It's his water and his tap for the fire. I can't move the building because with this 20-foot easement and how narrow, if I take any more, my truck yard's already almost too small. Because the damn thing's so narrow. And just so you do know, it's a long, thin cold storage, but it's not like the big cold storages that are in town or in Taunton now. It's, it's only 30 feet high, it's a bunch of little 8 units, it's for all little food guys. You know what I mean? Cape Cod Pizza wants to take one because his business is growing so fast, he needs some storage. There's a flour distributor that wants one, there's a couple of fish guys from New Bedford, there's Crocker and Windsor in Boston. So this is for all little local food guys, it's not a big, you're not gonna see 100 trucks and traffic like that and stuff like that. So the question is pretty simple. I'm happy with leaving it if that's what you wanna do. Is Carl here? Yeah, Carl's here, he's been in site business his whole life, like 80 years. And with Campanelli, so he's done site work.
Don't look at you.
It doesn't look it.
I started in the foundation excavation bit in New York City and stuff like that, so we know how to, if we're gonna be 6 feet away doing a trench, we'll be 4 or 5 feet from this thing. We know how to put caisson supports and stuff and just do 20 feet at a time so it can never collapse, save it, pour the footings in little pieces while we go by there.
Yeah, just run trench boxes, like we said.
Yeah, trench boxes to protect it, make sure we don't touch it if you really want us to leave it alone. And then I found a company in Ohio that does custom fabrication of aluminum staircases. So we would put these really lightweight, the fire staircase to get out the back there, so we don't need any footings on the ground or foundations or anything, so there's plenty of room from the footing. And if you ever had to work back there, God forbid, well, someday I'll have to replace it, but those are just unbolt them and take them off. And we would do it for you because they don't weigh anything, if you've ever seen them. And then, of course, the other option is replace the pipe from here to here, which we would do at our expense and put it straight where you'd like it. The question, we're gonna need a lot of help because I read someone's note, you're obviously not gonna shut down for days or weeks, it has to be something that's done in hours. So the way to do that is run the line first and say you're gonna tap your here. But I don't know anything about where's the valve here, where's the valve there. Can it be closed here or closed over there and closed here, and he's the only one isolated? And we can bring in tank trucks, fire trucks, hook to a height, whatever, so he's protected for the 2 or 3 hours
Is that a loop
that we
main?
tap.
That's a major loop main, so that's what feeds 70 to 90% of the fire suppression for Commerce Way. That's why that was.
Which way does the water flow?
From here to there.
Otherwise, there's no water here except that
No,
source?
there is water there, but it's dead-ended, and the amount of water used by El Nilam and the other buildings on Commerce Way is rather significant, so that's the reason it was installed back in the 80s.
Gotcha.
So if you did a
Was
fire
to
wa-
supply Commerce Way with water.
So if you did a fire watch, you'd have to hitch up to a hydrant over here, to a hydrant on the other side. Although you'd have to.
There would be some significant
Like a temp line.
concerns, that's why, leaving it in place is the best option. It doesn't mean it's the only option, but
No, we're here to cooperate.
Right.
This is not, oh, screw you, I'll go, no way. I'm an engineer and I build buildings, I'm in a fancy suit today, but that's not my background, trust me. I poured enough concrete and dug enough ditches,
Yeah.
I could replace the pipe myself literally.
Right.
Not with my daughter, if I had a son I could, but she's 19 and doesn't know how to do that.
she'll learn.
But,
It's 495 on this.
right here.
This
Well, it's
path
already-
right there, this is- okay.
Yeah.
And
So-
that water is crossing 495 coming from this direction.
So we will do it either way. We will leave it and show you what our plan is to make sure we don't go near it, we don't touch it, we don't hurt it. Grant you the easement with no argument or fight, just have your lawyer talk to ours, draft it, get it drawn by Kelly Engineering and record it. If you want us to replace it, we'll replace it at our expense.
So the discussion where we're at now, after speaking with the town manager and the town's legal counsel, they have to do their due diligence on their side to do a title search. Not that you guys didn't do everything absolutely.
I don't
They want to make sure they check off that box, so I was actually speaking with them today before the meeting. They are still going through that process.
No problem.
They get to the point where I think it was one of you gentlemen I was talking to. We actually have a senior tech who still works here, who was here when that main went in 1982. He recalls speaking with who was the alleged property owner at the time, a
That
gentleman.
whole Slack thing I keep hearing.
Latch, last name was
Yeah,
Latch.
I didn't pay much
No,
attention
no,
to
right.
it. I got enough problem trying to get it
So-
built on this site.
The fact, even the town's attorneys are very surprised that where 495 was involved with this, When that went in 78 and 79, they actually put
Is that when it went in?
corridor in under 495,
Shit,
knowing
it's
that
almost
we were
50
gonna
years
put the
old.
water main under there. So the fact that the town was involved and it was a multi-year project, you know, and the state was involved, everybody's just sitting there scratching their heads as to where the documentation.
Where's the docs?
Right, not saying that it never made it to its final destination, but obviously there was some thought that went into this project. So we've been instructed until that determination comes down from them not to make a determination of what to do as far as with easements and all that, but to definitely look at your proposed project, you know, based on the current layout as you show.
Yeah,
You know, because that's basically what their next step here is, to give you, you know, the means of moving forward. I believe there was some discussions about connections of your connection, water connections off of this line as well.
yeah, it'd be
To
great.
help you avoid
It's a
going
hell of a
to the
lot better
street.
than going to here.
Absolutely.
That would be great.
So, I mean, I didn't know if that was what's being proposed tonight, or if these plans haven't been updated yet.
We have,
Well, we don't know what's going on.
So the building you're putting in, proposing to put in, how far away are we looking from the current main?
The drawing that I'll
That's the
show
main
you.
in there
I
now.
have it in my
I
briefcase.
got an answer on it, get everything with it.
There's one key pinch point that's
Yes.
pointed out.
So like here, it's all the way out here, it's still all, and here's where it gets close, about 5
Have we done
feet.
test bits to confirm these
It
locations?
was marked and we located it, field
think, yeah.
located it,
It was traced and flagged, and that's how they have the overlay here, but as far as actual digging, obviously, we don't have access to the private property, so
Yeah.
no. So the trace could be off by 1 or 2 feet, you know, either side of the water main, as you know how they work. But it really doesn't change, you know, the placement of it on here with such a minuscule
Okay.
amount.
So these are the 4 staircases that, we would do them all, because we're gonna order them, we'd have them built in Ohio with it's an American factory. And that way we could just, if you ever had to do this, we would just unbolt these. They're aluminum, put them aside, you do your work, bolt them back, and fires back. If you wanna do that, and then if you want us to move it, you know, like from here to here, and if it's 50 years old, I don't know, you can end up with 200 and 300 feet of brand new pipe for free, but we'll move it. We're willing to do whichever you think's the right thing to do, you'd like us to do, and then just, how do we do it?
Right.
So we have to, I would put the whole new pipe in first, and then on a weekend, tap.
To the tie-ins.
Tap, right, do the tie-ins, and be done.
Just to cut in, right?
Put a
Not
crew
even-
on either
not even
side, so it
tap.
happens at the same time, maybe it's an hour, maybe it's 2 hours.
Open it up and plate it, and then just have it.
Yeah, well, we'd have to fill this and get it sterilized with,
Right,
Correct.
pressure test,
Yeah.
chlorinate and all that.
But I'm saying for the, I'm sure you're gonna be putting valves there. Have the valve
For a
assemblies
connection.
made up.
Yeah, we'd have all the valve assemblies and then
And
just
just-
do a cut in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and you put 4 guys doing that one, 4 guys doing that one, we're out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah, a couple hours.
It's all pre-done, and
Yeah.
then, so
Yeah, that's be the best.
we're just here to say, how do you wanna do it? And we'll work with you, and we both have the problem, let's fix it together, and it's all behind us.
There was some discussion that went around that the property boundary may not be exactly correct. Is that still being looked at?
We're all trying to figure it out, that part, they think the property line's actually a little 2 feet this way.
Okay.
After the last title, I mean, there's been so much title search on this, but there was a different boundary, I think, used for Spears.
Yeah.
But this boundary matches the deed, the title, there's been,
Okay.
yeah.
That's the only concern, is
Yeah.
that if it does get moved, obviously we wanna make sure it gets moved to the correct spot on the correct owned property.
Well, we'll give you as much easement this way. If you leave it here, we're gonna give you an easement right to the back of the building and this way.
Yep.
And this way. If we move the pipe, we're gonna give you, and if the pipe's gonna end up going, you know, let's say you wanna do it from here. And keep it more this way, so that you're farther off our building till you get to over here.
Right.
We'll do the whole thing, and then you'll actually have to deal with this guy, which I can't see him arguing, because you say, look, well, without that easement, you're not gonna get any water. So he's probably gonna say, okay. He and I had a little bit of disagreement. I held my cool, but I asked him if I could tie into his sewer line. Why would I ever let you do that? I said, because it's a shed line, and who cares? And it's just sewage going here. Why would you make me pipe all the way to the street if you already have a pump here and your sewage flows into it? And this building is gonna use almost no water.
Yeah.
It has 1 little bathroom per unit, that 3 or 4 truck drivers and a couple of house guys are gonna take a leak in and flush the toilet.
Yeah.
That's it, there's no processing, there's no washing down,
None of the refrigerant goes back there either, it's all.
no, there's nothing,
Right,
so,
right.
so it'd be very little sewage and very little water, and we're not really gonna irrigate, it's a swamp, so I don't think we're gonna need to do much sprinkling. And I asked him if I could just tie into the sewer line, and he said, no. I said, well, maybe I'll turn your water off because you're on my property. And he goes, I don't expect you to do that. I said, well, why can't I tie in the sewer line? Well, what if you dump a bunch of poisons down there? Oh, okay. So hopefully that conversation isn't over when we go to move the water line. And I don't see why he wouldn't just let his neighbor tie into the line that then pumps to here, but I'd rather not have to go.
Quick question. So relocating the building this way, we're not gonna do because of this easement restricts you,
Yeah,
and you
you
don't
can
have the
see,
room,
you can
right?
see how, here's the
Yep,
driveway.
these are bays for trucks.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. So you see, because with this driveway, if I move this thing anywhere this way, I get in real trouble. I can't even back a trailer here and then get a truck in here.
On account of this easement being here, it kinda screws you,
Well,
right?
even with it, it's this, I'm trying to now get approved to pave over his easement, otherwise,
Oh,
my
okay.
truck yard might actually end
So
up.
you're considering that easement as
Yeah.
part of your space, you're using it, it's just available for him
Well,
to
the
drive
town,
over.
I wanted the town to approve that I could do this, but now I need the billboard company and John Carroll, who actually owns this easement that they bought from the Mustos, and then this easement is here. I still gotta get over that hurdle, so,
I'm just curious, if this easement wasn't here and there were no wetlands and there was infinite land and none of this mattered, how physically far back would the building have to move to not have to move the water line? Are we talking 5 feet or are we talking 60 feet?
no, probably
No,
5 or 8
You're
feet.
probably 5 to 10 feet, yeah.
Whatever he's
Yeah.
most comfortable with to dig.
And that small number is enough to not be able to screw over this whole side of the building?
Yeah.
Like losing 10 feet here?
This is only 150, this is 160 feet, here it's 162, and this is the driveway. So even if I put like a 22-foot box truck here, this tractor could never back in.
So, yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah,
And
swing-
if cars
swing
park
lanes.
here, these trucks won't be able to get in these doors. I'm within
Yeah.
2 feet of this parking lot function. We almost canceled the project because of how skinny
That
this
sucks.
is. And there's so little parking, I have to build a parking lot over here, and I gotta put retaining walls in to get around here. That's why this site hasn't sold. I mean, this is a nice park, it's a great driveway, it's off 495, it's a good town, everything about it's great, but look at the shape. I mean, it's not exactly a perfect rectangle, and then it's interrupted by this, and then this easement. So,
And what's this, 20, how many feet is this, 20 feet? Did you say?
20 feet.
20 feet?
So by relocating the water main back as far as possible, does that give you the option to move the building back?
no.
We got a variance already to, from the zoning board to be that
The
close.
state statutes, the statutory building code is 11 feet.
Yeah.
The IBC is 11 feet. The original park had a 25-foot rear yard setback because parts of the park have neighbors and residential, so they made it 25. That doesn't change the noise any, but they made it 25.
Yeah.
It's not really the building codes. And we went to the town, and they said, no, this is just a driveway to a warehouse, so you can't go any closer. So we're at 17 feet where we could have been 11, but we're good where it is. We could have gone more, but that was what
It's
was.
too bad of this too, because it tapers off. If that wasn't there, you could take everything, move back.
If you guys
that way,
all close
and
your
you're
eyes, I'll
fine.
fill that in. We can grow some more frogs somewhere else.
And there's no opportunity to repopulate the vegetated wetlands and swap these two? Has that been looked at or discussed, or is it too expensive?
Well, we got the easement issue in here
Right.
for this billboard guy, the billboard person owns it. And filling in wetlands today is not what like it was years ago. There was a couple of what they thought might be vernal pools, we had to go through 4 months of testing for that, and oh my God, that was, I built buildings easier than just figuring out that those 2 vernal pools were vernal pools. And when the fairy shrimp showed up, I almost shit, I go, what the hell's a fairy shrimp? It's a little thing about this big, they died in a week and then they're bone dry now. It's been tough. Not anything to do with you,
No,
just the
it's
state,
definitely,
NEPA and Conscom.
Difficult lot.
So we can't readily relocate the water line on the other person's property, we have no right to do that,
We
right?
had no right to do that, exactly. Yeah, it was, if there was a movement, it would have to stay on this property, and I don't think that's gonna give you enough for the separation.
So moving is probably not an option then, right?
Without having conversations with Spears to see if they would grant the
You wanted to
easement.
let him tie into a sewer? I
I
don't know if he's gonna let
I
him.
know, right?
So if you kept the water main where it is, what's the downside?
The only downside is for future.
If there's a main
If
break,
there's an issue, we don't say that word, Steve.
yep,
You know better.
I should know better.
risking the possibility of undermining the building, depending on what you have for footings, flooring, and all that stuff there. Obviously, the response time is gonna affect that if we happen to be driving by and we see it happen, as opposed to it happening at 2 in the morning when the guys are, you know, an hour and a half away. There's a major difference on what can happen. Which is the biggest concern, is with the reason why we asked for certain easements, not only getting the vehicles in to do the repairs, but, you know, the impacts to structures around the area.
And the water mains 50,
Yeah, it was
Close to 50?
82 that went in, 46-year-old.
46 years old?
But if we got an easement on the neighbor's property, what would be the width, where would the line be off the building?
Off of their building, if it was
Yeah.
relocated, we definitely want to put it in the middle of a 20-foot easement, so we'd go 25 off of theirs.
If it was, if he would let you come farther, you go as far as you can, and you go
Right.
from here to here, if he allows it. Otherwise,
Is that a-
I would put
is
it
that
right down the
5
property
feet?
line and
Not
get
okay.
10 feet on either side, because we're
That's all
17
woods.
feet.
That's not paved.
That's all woods, right?
Yeah, that's grass.
It's pretty clear in there.
They went through and they cleaned that out so they could do their
But
connection.
we're 17 feet from the property line, so
Right.
if you actually took it from here to here, you could run it right on the property line, so you're technically not working on his property except over trenching. We give you 10 feet, he gives you 10 feet, and now you got, now you have a full 20-foot easement
Right.
with nothing in your way.
So since I can't see the drawing, where is the water line compared to where the building is?
The closest point,
I don't need to see the picture. Just tell me.
it's 5 feet at the closest.
5 to 6 feet.
5 to 6 feet at the closest point.
So in reality, the difference is, it would be 5 feet further away from the building if you would relocate the water main, based on the 20-foot.
If you put it on the property line, it'll be 12.
It'd be 12, 12 to 15, depending on how accurate the markings were.
On the
So you
property
pick up,
line.
you
it'd be
pick up 7 feet of
17.
separation.
On the property line, it'd be 17, but 12 feet from the edge of the steps.
The steps, yeah.
But if you get permission from the other owner, you can put it wherever you want. You can go 20 feet if you want, if he's
Potentially.
fine with that, right?
Yeah.
And he does nothing with that strip, it's his driveway and just some grass and a detention basin and a bunch of garbage. If it's trenched in the landscape, put back, what the hell would he care?
Yeah, right.
You would think.
He's the same guy who won't let you tie into his school.
Well, we didn't talk about it that much, I wasn't gonna start a fight.
Right.
Yeah.
So logistically, it's not that easy to build a water main in somebody else's property starting now. I mean, it's gonna take a while to pull that rabbit out of the hat.
We could do it, I have no problem building the building, protecting the pipe, and we'll do it later. We're gonna be building the building for a year. If part of the deal is, look, build it, don't touch the pipe, but we really do eventually wanna move it, I'll move it. We don't have to move it now, I'll build the building without it, but you want us to move it. I won't landscape back there, I will buy the aluminum stair, I don't have to now get these special stairs that are unboltable and whatever. And I would do it now, right where it's close, I wouldn't do it, you know what I mean? So, and then we'll move it in the spring or the fall, whenever you get your paperwork done. We'll move it. I'll put a letter in writing, you know, our lawyer will draft it, your lawyer draft it, I'll sign it. We guarantee you the 10-foot easement. We will
Yeah.
replace the pipe, and we'll figure out how to do it and plan for it.
We have no mechanism to do that though, right?
We do not, that would go through the attorneys.
Yeah.
I mean, we could start discussions with the owner of Spears and just see, you know, what the temperature of the room is, to see if there is any interest in going forward with that. I don't think there's any way that we can force them to do it.
Well,
because it's not
if I was the owner, not just to be a nice person, but I'd be sitting there go, okay, so my pipes come from pipes that are quote-unquote illegal, not in the right place, not properly drafted, not properly documented. You're gonna put a new line in, replace a 50-year-old line, and then everything's copacetic in the way it should be. And it's not gonna cost me any money? No. Why would I
I
say no?
wouldn't care.
Right.
Yeah,
Why would
no,
you?
Most people would be, I don't care.
Why would you say, no, thank you.
Right.
Do you want a coffee?
Yeah, right, exactly.
I couldn't fathom someone saying no. You know, you got the line that supplies your building, your piece of real estate with water, it's got a problem. We'd like to put in a brand new line and fix it, it's 50 years old. Put it right on the property line where it should be, with the proper easements, God forbid there ever is a problem. And everything's done. I can't imagine him saying no.
So what was your discussion to do? What are we supposed to do now? Are we supposed to wait for somebody
Basically,
to do a title?
wait for the title search to come back, which we don't anticipate they're finding anything
Okay,
different.
so
than
assume
what
that that's
we did
not gonna
here.
demonstrate anything. Let's just make that assumption.
Mhm.
Would you prefer to have a proper easement and have the
Absolutely.
line relocated?
Absolutely.
So if we want to do that, what's the mechanism to go the next step to actually do that? I mean, drawings have to be, easement drawings have to be drawn up.
We would probably, I would feel as though we'd have to do some sort of demonstration for this gentleman, Spears. And so he has a better understanding of, this is zero impact to him, and we'll make it, you know, especially when the shutdown, I'm sure he's probably gonna be more concerned with than anything, and we could do that on a Saturday or even a Sunday.
Holiday weekend, doesn't matter to me, do Memorial Day weekend when everything is shut down.
So
It's gonna
somebody,
cost me a few bucks, but if it's 4 hours on Memorial Day, every place is closed, and I'll pay the firemen their double time and just, let's do it.
so the construction is, we'll say, the cost is covered for all that work. The question is the legalese to do that. Great, I mean, I know how to do that, by the way, we've sort of all done that, but I'm trying to figure out how we do it as the water commission.
It would have to go through town's legal.
No, I understand the
But-
legal, but who's
Right.
preparing those plans?
That would either be.
We would prepare the plans,
We could prepare the easements or them.
Okay.
and we would draw where the pipe's gonna go.
Yep.
And then we just have to coordinate with you, you know, because we don't know where the shut-off valves are, and
Okay, so
the timing.
that's a technical detail stuff, we'll figure it out.
Right.
So if that's the case, then if we have I guess I don't know which comes first. We approve for them to proceed to do that, function of whether or not, as I said, we have no right to do it, so it's approaching of the company to whether or not they'll allow us to do that. Do we do that?
I would probably reach out to them personally
Yeah,
and
I think
see
we
if
need
we
more
can start a
information before we
discussion.
can approve anything.
No, you can't approve anything
Right.
until we get that next approval.
I mean, if they're willing to work with us, and obviously we can explain the benefits to it and leave it up to
I
them.
think you said we need a memo understanding from the neighbor or something.
MOU, yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
that's, so we're gonna basically just say this is not gonna cost them anything, we're not gonna disrupt them, we're gonna have this, do that, whatever.
Well, I guess our request after hearing all this, is, you know, we're approved and everything, we'd like to build a building, we all now know where the pipe is, we'll do everything we have to not touch the pipes, not hurt the pipe, not affect everything, protect it. But with the open understanding that I got the building built, I won't renege on it. If it takes you months to figure out how to do the replacement, we'll do it.
There's gotta be some kind of contingency though in the event that, let's say takes us a year and you sell, and now there's a new owner in here that comes in and says, I'm not paying for that pipe.
I'll put the money in escrow. If that happens, if anything was to happen, we'll get all our budgets and tell you, we figure it's 80,000, 60,000, 100,000 to it. We'll get a budget, we'll tell you what our project budget is for it. We'll do it, not a problem. If we were to sell the property, we'll take that amount of money and we'll put it in an escrow account.
That would be the only thing I would worry about,
But we're not.
promising to do it later, you know?
Yeah, well, there has to be a
Who
limit,
knows how long, it could be 2 years, you know?
but there has to be a
Who
limit.
knows how long it's gonna happen, you know?
We'll come up with a reason. You guys find out, you might say 6 months, say, well, give us a 1-year guarantee.
Reasonable, but.
I can't do it for perpetuity, shit, I'll be retired at 65.
So can we do anything tonight regarding that?
I think we can look at the proposed plans, the proposed connections, if you guys have them tonight. I know there was some discussion coming off of that main, and basically vote on the plans separate from the relocation of the main and the easement settlement and all that stuff.
So before we talk about that, is there any way that you would be happy with leaving the pipe as it is? Would you have a certain level of comfort to leave it where it is? I don't know, you know the gist I'm asking.
I'm not opposed to leaving it where it is, but there's been a better solution presented tonight that I'd like to investigate.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, replacing it's one, the other one, when we dig the footings, and I'll let Carl opine to this, but I used to do it because I told you, I originally came from New York City before I lived in Sturbridge, and I worked in New York building buildings. When we see the soils, when we dig the footings, if it's soft enough, because we've already done some, the dirt's pretty good. If any place we find a lot of rock, that's not going to erode from a break.
Right.
if we dig those footings and we double check as we get closer, then we know the pipe's 4 feet over there, I might wanna just bang in sheeting. Metal sheeting like you do for a dock. Hammer in from here.
Yeah.
If the dirt's soft, 2 feet off the foundation, for this length, hammer in the same sheeting you put, you ever seen a seawall at a dock in a cave or something like that, or whatever? If do a few borings, we tell you it's soft, I'll bring in the same sheeting of the steel that's this thick and corrugated, we hammer it in below the ground, 2 feet, you never see it, you don't know it's there. That line ever breaks, it's a complete shield
It's a barrier.
for under the building. I'll just sheet it.
Yeah.
And that way you dig, you can never hit our footing, that we know where the pipe is. We'll put concrete marks, we'll show you where the sheeting is, I say we sheet it. We hammer a sheet in.
My other thought, John, would possibly is just do a deeper footing, well below the pipe.
Then we go 10 feet.
Yeah, so you're in a trench box, we can go as deep as we want, we just go deeper there. My only concern with, when we can do it, vibrating next to that pipe, then there is a lot, they're driving those
That's why I
sheet
said, how
pumps.
soft is it?
Yeah, right, so
It depends on how soft, that's why I said you gotta check the soil.
Yeah.
But the other one is we could just do a deeper
deeper
footing.
footing,
Deeper footing and foundation wall.
yep, just in that, where it's tight, and that's
But we gotta use the caisson boxes. That's-
Right, you still we gotta do that anyways, but.
Well, like I said, we'll build the building and protect it, and then if and when you want us to move the pipe and you have time to plan and do the legal work, we'll do it when you tell us. Not a problem. We're just here because we can't ignore it, we had to tell you. Because without it recorded and everything, we could've just, and like everyone, someone says, look, the pipe's not on anybody's plan, nobody's there, let's just start building. I said, that's not the right thing to do, we're gonna have to wait. No, honest, I'm just being honest.
Yeah, no, I
Someone
get
pointed
that.
the pipe out. We should have just broke ground. But I didn't feel comfortable doing it.
Let's talk about your water surfaces.
The what?
The water surfaces.
What do you mean?
The connection.
Oh,
Yeah. So this is sort of a, crude markup of, just because, before we finalize this, we wanna get an agreement, obviously with the commission here. So originally, we had, I think, a 10 tapping off of South Washington, looping back around to form a loop. So now we're proposing, assuming, tapping off this main, we tap the 10 to the fire, and then complete the loop back around with an 8. That's one option. Then the other option is just to
That means 10-inch?
12.
the 12 here, we'd be tapping with a 10 for fire. And then this is just, if the loop is not required, we would just dead end it here and have a fire domestic off of that. The greens are just a 6 for lateral speed and right now. So we've kind of developed these two schemes, basically tapping 2 times into this main, one for the hydrants on this side to not, for that side, or to make a loop this way.
If I remember right, hydrant placement was already approved by fire, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's,
Loop makes more sense, right?
Oh, yeah.
There was a hydrant out in the front, too,
Yeah, we've got
correct?
this,
Some-
yep.
Yeah,
There's this one right here
one
too.
over
Yeah,
there.
so that's for the FTC connection, and then we had these 2 back here for hose lengths.
For the rear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, either of these would definitely work. I mean, the loop is in the regulations for being required. The only concern is with this being 6. Hydrant laterals, so the only thing that's allowed to be a 6, I mean, technically it is a hydrant lateral, but if they're worried about flow in the rear.
There's no structures there, no buildings, no.
Yeah, but we've had issues unfortunately with truck fires.
Truck fires.
That they are very gun shy about not addressing. So
Okay.
they are, pretty.
So you do a 12 by 8 tap, and then do a 6 connection to the hydrant?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, or if you were gonna run that down like it's shown here where the 6 is, the main between them could be an 8, and then you could reduce down right at the hydrant.
Right, at the
line.
hydrant, 6,
Yeah,
6,
where the
right?
gate is. Probably easier and cheaper to do that than it is to do another tap.
Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. 8 versus.
I hope they
8
never need a hydrant except
There's
this
no-
one.
8 versus
major
6
difference,
is, there's no.
But they
there's
notice
virtually
it on
no
the
difference.
trucks with the flow, especially if they're at the end and trying to pull.
So you prefer this one, Frank?
I would prefer the loop.
Yeah.
That's what I know, that definitely was presented to Deputy Chief, because I remember discussing with him.
It definitely guarantees the flow rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the tie-ins of the two taps, it's to the water main that's staying, as opposed to the water
Would
main?
be either.
It would be for now if we, it would be for now. And then it's part of what we would put new ones in when you run the new line and then reconnect. If you put the new line,
Could.
if you leave it, you leave it.
Is
You
there a way
could try to
get-
put it in a spot where it's outside of the impact zone for the
That's what I was
replacement.
just
We could
thinking.
Yeah, we
work
could
it.
angle over a
You
little
come
bit.
over here with this
I'm
one.
just trying to save you
Yeah,
money.
spread 'em out a little
I'm
bit.
just trying to save you money, that's all.
Yeah, no, we could
By
come
having
like this,
that
and
one.
we
Yeah.
could tie, make sure we tie in here.
Figure out where we wanna make the
We
cut-ins
just tie
later
in.
and just go outside of those areas.
And then, and if we never replace the line, they're
Yeah.
fine where they are, and if we
Right,
replace
right.
the line,
Just
they're
tap
outside
it
of the
here,
job.
run the
Yeah,
main
you
line.
feed it. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
yep, I agree.
I mean, I just, you know,
It's a good idea.
And, this we could even just, bring out on the outside of the trailer storage too, just so, that's.
so Frank, based on this discussion, what would our motion be to allow these guys to proceed?
I would approve these plans, ones that you can obviously sign and initial, as presented with the connections, to be outside of the impact area should the main choose to be moved. I see no reason why they can't move forward with this, and then we can come up with a solution if that pipe's gonna relocate it, or if it's gonna remain in place, and they can determine what the best method is once they get down there. When we dug that 10 or 15 years ago to excavate to the top of the pipe, and I believe that was for the Spears building, it was all sugar sand. It was beautiful material out
Yeah,
there.
the material's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there is a good chance that you could drive something in there with no impact.
Well, we'll see when we know.
Yeah.
Right, until you get there, you can't tell.
Yeah, like I said, when we start to dig a little bit, we're all experienced.
Yeah.
We'll protect that pipe, we'll put the foundation in. You get us a letter or whatever to sign however you want, whenever you want to, that if you do determine you'd like it to replace the pipe for some period of time, we'll do it. In the meantime, we'll get the easement if you need it now, get us the paperwork for that, or since if we're just leaving it alone and you don't need it, because it's kind of easement by default, I'm not gonna screw up my own water line, or I have no water. You kind of got me by the jacket here. So, we just want to help.
Yeah.
So if we approve the connections tonight with this change, does that allow them to go ahead and break ground
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
regardless of what happens with the big man?
Yeah. That's kind of the main goal we're trying to achieve, so that we won't hold them up any longer. And we can come up with that little section in the back and a solution for that in the future.
And that still lines up with what the town manager was requesting of us.
Yeah, we had permission to approve the project as presented, outside of the impact zone that's gonna be affected by any type of potential easement.
And just honestly, because and to be a good new neighbor and people from Massachusetts, if the right thing is to rerun the pipe, we'll rerun the pipe. It's expensive and it's a job, but someone's got to do it.
Okay.
And if you guys had to go appropriate money, it's probably more complicated. If you say the guy who owns the land says he'll do it, I gotta believe it's easier.
Do we need to make that as part of our motion, or we want to keep that separate, since it's?
We can
still
keep
waiting?
that separate, because we still don't have a final determination from the attorneys.
Okay, so we just make a straight up motion to approve the connection.
Yeah, and I'm just making your promise, if you deliver a letter that says, sign here, from when you break ground, you will replace the pipe from here to here or whatever, as in normal, for an 18-month period or something like that. Or if you ever sell the building, you'll put this amount of money in escrow, or the sufficient funds based on pricing, so that you can then do it.
I wouldn't anticipate this going a lengthy time
Very
either.
long either.
It might take you a little bit because of lawyers and the holidays, and I don't, I had
It's
one
gonna
phone.
take you a year to build
Yeah,
this.
you're gonna be.
Yeah,
So
plenty of time.
I can't imagine it's not gonna take well before you're done building it.
I think it'll take you a few months. This is, we're not,
I agree.
we're not SpaceXing to Mars here. It's a water pipe.
Pretty basic.
If this guy, and you're the town, he'll talk to you different than me. If you find him a decent guy, he might say, yeah, that'd be great, not a problem, I'll give you the easement or whatever, and then maybe you can ask, well, you let the neighbor tie into the sewer line, that'd be nice for me. That's all. And then everybody's happy and it's done. And if it takes time, it takes time, we're okay with it, we'll work with it. That's what I said, I meant it when I got in here. This is how does everybody get what they want out of this, and it's not a fight. The less lawyers, the better. This is an engineering problem, this is not a lawyer problem.
Okay, you guys good?
Yep.
All right, I will go ahead and make a motion then to approve the plans for the water connections of 260 South Washington Street, pending the change to put them outside of the impact zone of moving the main, 12-inch main. Did I get everything?
I think so.
A second motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet all of you.
Appreciate you doing all this too.
So we need to revise the plans.
Yep.
And we go to sign off on them.
Yep, we'll,
Just make sure that you give what he wants.
You should wait for the
Yeah.
revised plans to sign now.
I didn't bring it back. Finalize it, like I said. Yeah, pretty basic. Mickey Mouse playing right now. No worries.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your help.
Been a while.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your work.
Thanks, sir. Good to meet you. I'll see you around town.
thank you.
Appreciate you.
I'll be living in that hotel next door a lot. Thanks. Nice to meet you. Are we in your way?
About 5 minutes.
You're the photographer?
Yeah.
How do I look on the camera?
Started my own gig.
Give a cut?
No,
Send me a link.
I will. I've got it. I will. I'll do that. It was good seeing you again.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
guys. Thank you.
Thank
And
you,
ladies.
guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right,
I think our whole.
next up, Elm Street, water main improvement discussion.
Just wanted to know if you guys had any questions about items moving forward there. There was a few phone calls that came in. Apparently it must have been discussed amongst others. We've heard that this is moving forward. Just to be clear, it is water only. There is no sewer improvements being done there.
That was
No easements.
reiterated at town meeting.
Yes,
This is Elm Street you're talking about?
this is
Yes.
Elm Street. We are moving forward with it. We're working with the engineers to transfer it from a water and sewer project to a water-only project. I know Tara and Ben are working behind the scenes on that. We'll be coming up with a cost scope analysis, basically breakdown of funds over time. We did actually meet with Senator Feeney a week and a half or a week ago, whatever it is now. Discussions with him just to let him know about the project, about the grant that we have.
Is he part of that grant?
He is not, but he knows multiple players in the MassWorks group,
Okay.
so he was gonna reach out to them and see if there are any options for extensions when we don't have a signed letter of intent from the property owner.
Okay.
He says he's heard of similar workings in the past and just wants to make sure that he can do anything he can to help us out with that.
Okay.
So the grant is not completely off the table, although maybe a stretch to obtain. So we're gonna move forward as if it did not exist, as I presented to the select board. Give us the drawdown schedule for the cash flow expenditures, more than likely stepped borrowing for the town. If they can work it in with any of their projects along the way, a lot of times we get better rates, so. But didn't know if you guys had any questions, if you field any calls or anything besides the ones I
I
have.
haven't had anything
Okay.
since that night.
All right,
That's
great.
that's good. It
That's
was
good. Check that one off the
breezed right
list.
through it, yep. Were the calls pretty much contingent on, they were all talking about the sewer?
They were all worried about the sewer,
Yeah.
yep.
Well, that's good, maybe the dog park after all. You know.
There were a couple that were upset that it didn't go through, but unfortunately, we tried.
Is the developer in play or not?
They are still in play.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Maybe do another presentation, you were pretty getting good at it.
He was
Right
right.
now, we did it 7, 8, 10 times.
Or more.
Or more, right?
All right, we good with
Now I
that?
get to take off.
Yeah, I think we're all right with that.
All right, let's move right on to new business, 254 Mansfield Ave.
Still disputes, we got in your packets.
I think
Yeah, I can bring you some, the bill and a consumption report.
Did you get information on that from Brooke?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. So she had to leave early today.
This is just water only, no sewer?
It looks like it is.
That is-
No,
Yeah,
there's
there's
sewer.
sewer,
Well, they have
there's
sewer,
sewer.
yes.
Is this the one that we had talked about last time, we
No.
tabled for another month, is that a different one? This is
No, I
new?
think
This is a different one.
This is totally new, okay. So she says in her letter, recent water bill much higher than usual. After inspection, was told a small hose leak and a running toilet were likely the cause. Both issues have since been fixed. Increase is expected, and so she goes on to ask for our consideration to adjust the bill. So with a hose leak and a running toilet, some went in the sewer and some didn't.
You'd have to assume, it's hard to assume, but you'd have to think that the hose leak was more impactful than the toilet.
Probably.
You know, but where both were found, it's very hard to distinguish what was what.
So do we do a portion of this?
Yeah, that's what he's saying, is where do you draw the line on the
Yeah,
portion?
that's
you
the
know?
problem, because there's no way we'll figure it out.
You call it 50-50?
There's no way, right.
You know? I mean, in the past, when we've abated, is that what this would be, is an abatement?
Well, we don't know if we paid the Judge Bill enough.
Okay, so it could just be a reduction in the bill if we did it. But either way, when we've done it for sewer, we've oftentimes included capital on big numbers. Maybe we could split the sewer in half and not include the capital or something like that.
Sounds like a plan.
Thinking of.
Why don't you do that?
You wanna go that way?
Sure.
I like it, Jim.
Yeah, good idea.
All right, so this is not an abatement, this is just a bill reduction then?
Why don't you word
Since
it
they have-
both ways, just in case they have made payment and it's not reflected?
Yeah, we don't know
Okay,
if it's paid or
let
not
me do
paid.
some math on here, what's half of 486? $243 and 16 cents. 273?
No, the capital 73 and whatever.
We're not doing capital, we're
Okay,
just doing
fine.
half the sewer.
Okay, fine.
So $243.16. Okay, I will make a motion to reduce the bill or abate for 254 Mansfield Ave for the sewer portion in an amount of $243.16.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Is the settlement,
Yes, isn't that 250
Zero
or more?
Mansfield.
what's that?
Zero Mansfield.
Okay. Oh, he's back anyways.
Who's next?
All right.
Zero Mansfield.
Doing pretty good.
That was good.
Only slightly behind.
Zero Mansfield Ave.
Join at the table here?
Wherever you
Come on,
want.
step right up. We'll give you a comfy chair.
Funny it's easy.
Big chair?
If you could just state your name and get ready.
Happy to. Phil Cordero, Allen and Major Associates, representing Concerned Home Builders for Zero Mansfield. Thank you for
No,
putting
thank
this
you.
on the agenda to discuss. I didn't know, was it an introduction? You want me to just jump right in?
Just,
Jump right in.
Introduce yourself. Look, we already
Okay.
introduced yourself, so
What do I want?
jump right in. Yep.
What do I want? So,
Let's talk.
Zero Mansfield was a project that went in front of the planning board 4 years ago, 2 buildings, 60 units. We got site plan review, but got denied on the special permit. We appealed the special permit decision, got remanded back. As part of those negotiations, the town and the developer sort of reached some conclusions. We're back in front of permitting, starting next week with both Concom and planning. The project is 72 units, Zero Mansfield. So we'll ask for a water and a sewer connection for that. But as part of the project, we're extending sewer down Mansfield Avenue until you get to the Main Street, about 2,000 feet. So we know there was initial allocation of capacity sort of granted back then. We talked, it's sort of expired, we need to renew that with you and get back in your good graces. So if this project gets off the ground, we've got sewer and water.
Okay.
So
Is this the wedge of land that is reservoir?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
it is
And how many units did you say?
72, 36 ones, 36 twos.
Is this what was very similar to what was before, or? is this-
Very similar,
Yeah.
only again, more units. So we have, so part of the negotiation, so what was ultimately agreed to, if I may, this is the wedge that you're referring
Okay,
to,
yep.
Mansfield Reservoir, is an agreement was made that we would deed restrict or otherwise donate a portion of wetlands to the town. And as sort of a mitigation for that loss of land, the town agreed that we could increase the number of units to sort of equate the value of the land that we were giving to the town for environmental protection. So that's why the units are up a little bit. In terms of the project, by and large the same, 2 entrances, parking, two singular buildings. We've added some garages along the landscaped amenity garages. But what we're also worked through is, we did submit the application. We've already gotten some comments, including from water and sewer. So we're already working towards revising the plans. We originally had 2 taps, one for each building coming in off of the main. But what we'll do is we will bring in a looped connection, an 8-inch loop connection on the private side of the site, and then we'll do the internal taps to feed domestic and fire for both of those buildings. And then obviously have feeds for our internal hydrants that we'll need for the fire department. So you haven't seen those plans yet, but they'll be submitted through the next revision to capture that request and the requirement to make sure that we have the loop on there. And then obviously the sewer services, as we run down 2,000 feet, so we're obviously running the force main line down. We're leaving stubs as requested, at the roadway edge. We're not tying anybody in at this point. We're just leaving the line. That's our obligation, tethering it down to Library Park. Tethering it down to the connection of the gravity sewer manhole here, and we'll leave the line, and the town can then mitigate any future connections into it as you all deem appropriate. So we're not forcing those connections. This came up, we had a technical review session last week that as part of our permitting, we're going to address it right from the jump, because our abutters the last time felt they were going to be forced to connect. We're going to be clear up front, there's no forced connection. We're going to give them a flyer on it saying we're putting it in, and if there's a failure on the sewer system, or you want to transfer title, or you want to connect, they can pursue that with you all, future point in time.
And that falls under the privately funded, town funded?
It does, that's the separation based on the regulations that are in place now. I mean, I apologize, I haven't had a chance to get to the sewer, I started on the water.
Understood,
To be clear, are there sewer services going to each property line based on the properties that are fronted? Or is it just a dedicated force main for this property?
It's a dedicated force main for the property with the service stubs at the streets. So where we cross the street, we'll have a stub, but we don't have a direct stub into all of the properties as we're running by them.
But will this allow all the properties to connect without digging up the street?
No.
Is that what
No.
They'd have to
No.
take the street.
You would have to reopen it. We could talk about if you wanted a piece of pipe. It's a force main, so if you wanted a piece of pipe running just proud, to make it easier for that future connection, but you'd have to do some digging down the line, for sure.
That's where the impact is starting to be noticed, and we've had a few calls on it already that I fielded, is that, obviously it's a state road, there's a lot more involved with getting state road opening permits.
Yes.
And a lot more involved with the reclamation of the road once it's excavated. So I can tell you that there's already some pushback by not bringing services to the property lines. And that's something that obviously the boards and everything will be discussing on it.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I copied you on an email I'd sent earlier. There was a meeting we had with the town manager to discuss this. While he is very focused on improving the utilities in town in areas that, are deficient like this one, he definitely, just like the commission here, does not want to put it on the backs of the residents. Not only do they have their connection fee, that would be owed to the sewer department when they want to connect, but obviously, you're almost going to double that by asking them to get a contractor to do the work in the state road. So if there's some way that we can work around what's being presented and get services to the property line, I think that would be a big selling point for those along the way, and obviously the boards that have to review and approve these.
Okay.
Just something to throw out there.
Okay, so, obviously one side of the road is easier, right? So the line is, what we're proposing is in the shoulder. So we can stub that all day, it's no problem. And actually, the future excavation is easy. It's obviously the continued trenching across the road. So we will, whatever ends up happening here, we can talk through it. We will need to file for the DOT permit under the town's name. Because they won't grant it to us, obviously.
Yeah, we put applicants like yourself through as basically an approved agent. Everything gets uploaded through DEP directly through yourselves, and we get copied on it.
Yeah, that's right. But
It's a pretty common process, but we
Okay.
do have to be involved with it.
Right. Yeah.
How many abutters do we think we're talking about?
It's really not that heavily populated, just
Didn't
taking
think so.
a quick look at it, we were 30 to 40 is what we came up with, just for a real quick look. Obviously having,
There's a street there too, isn't there?
there is Pitt Clark.
Yeah, Pitt Clark
off
right
to
here,
the
which
side.
we're again, we're running a stub off of that one, for sure. But go ahead.
No, so it just opens up opportunities for land that was not previously developable because of the soil conditions in that area, to change what they currently have now. So you may see some applications come in for residential homes, trying to go to something different, larger. So it's definitely a benefit for the town in the long run. I don't see anything huge happening right away, but just something that we definitely want to look at. No, please go
No,
ahead.
I was gonna say, the only slippery slope that, you know, hearing what you're saying about leaving the stubs for everybody is if we Swiss cheese that road, that MassDOT suddenly says you gotta do the whole road.
Right.
For us, that would be a problem. You know, I'm just candidly speaking,
Yeah,
from the
no,
developer side, you know, the sewer's sort of on the razor's edge, we're doing it, there's a lot of excavation associated with it. But if DOT tells us by, let's say there's 30, let's say it's 15 and 15, I'm making up a number, but 15 crossings, they may say, you gotta do a whole box improvement.
Is it,
That's tough.
I'm probably showing my ignorance here because I'm not a sewer engineer, but can that be cut down by, instead of putting a stub to every property, put one for every 2 properties right in the middle of the line that could service, the kind of Y out and service to, is that a thing, or?
The issue with that is the maintenance aspect of it. If you have multiple homes that are owned by separate entities and there's a problem with that line, and it's ultimately determined to be in the line under the state road, you're gonna have the finger pointing going on, I'm not fixing theirs.
Yeah, I
Do we have a
agree.
problem with that,
Okay, okay.
lady, with the water line?
Water lines
Yeah,
would run
the
into
water line
that,
problem,
you know, we
yeah.
wouldn't wanna start getting into that. And
We run into that with condos all the time.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a common line, they blame the last guy in line, the 5 upstream, are like, we're good.
I know, I was just trying to come up with a way to make
right.
it less amount of cuts across the road.
So I'm confused
That's possible.
about who owns this force main line, once it's built.
ultimately, the sewer department would own it.
So wouldn't we own the services to this property edge?
We would.
So if you wide it, if you ram one across and wide it, why wouldn't it be our responsibility anyways?
It's just not a common practice that you
I
wanna
know,
get
I
into.
know.
I mean,
So-
ultimately,
so-
yes.
So it's
I
not a
mean,
common practice, I get it.
We
I
could
understand.
definitely do some unique things here.
But I agree with them that if we have to end up paving the road, it's probably going to make the project.
Well, that's where this discussion needs to be had with Mass DOT. We know the road is in pretty poor condition in certain areas. You know, maybe there's some fees that could be waived, you know, or an agreed upon shared cost, if they're looking to do the repairs at some point anyway. It would be fully funded by them. If we're looking to go in and they're looking to go in, maybe there's a joint pool that can be thrown together to
That'll
come
work
up
out.
with the total cost, and everybody wins.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I have a couple of contacts at District 5 that are, I believe they're working from home, so I haven't heard back from them. I've asked a few questions about other things, but I can reach out again and see if they have this on their master plan for when it's going to be modified, reclaimed, whatever they call it.
Would
You
it-
gotta
If it's close
You got a
enough,
good
maybe they
grant
just bump it up a little bit.
You have a good grant writer?
We do not have any grant writer.
Would a,
Probably guessed where I was going.
I did.
would a
Okay.
directional drill application be even thought of with something like this, so that it doesn't have to rip the road up?
We did that with the water main replacements up there when we switched sides and abandoned the old one for the water services. It is definitely possible,
I don't know if the state allows
but
it.
I don't know.
No, they don't.
I don't know if the state allows it or not. I mean, we do, that was one of my questions, whether or not that would be acceptable. You should look into that.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, how,
Directional drill or
what,
whole hog or something like that. We used a whole hog when we
Yeah.
did the water
Yeah.
services.
and the size of the force main, has that been determined?
So it's an inch and a quarter, because it's a low pressure
So
line.
it's a grinder pump?
Yeah.
Put grinders in, right?
Yeah, so the capacity of that with everybody connecting to it would obviously have to be reviewed by
I was just gonna ask that,
water
in
engineers.
long term, if everybody did connect, would that be big enough?
Yeah, and then anything upstream from that that still has the potential to be built and connect to it would have to be addressed, using, just looking at max capacity. So there's a couple parcels prior to the reservoir crossing that are actually fairly large.
You guys have used these ones, right?
And I think, Steve, actually, you might have been in on it too, with the peer review of the original project.
Yes.
We had looked at,
Is that Keith Silver's property?
so Keith's property is another one behind that, and another, a second that abuts Reservoir Street. There's probably close to 40 acres, not including Keith's property
Wow.
there. All waterfront, but limitations are, there's no wastewater
Sure.
there, so.
Yep.
You know, not that somebody's jumping to get that done, but
Mm.
once you install something close by, you know, it changes the aspect of the property. So inch and a half may not be the size that's gonna work there, obviously that's where we'd kick it off to our sewer engineers for a peer review. I mean, this has been modified multiple times before you've taken over. The original plans were 3 buildings being proposed and a gravity sewer main being installed. Then they came,
We tried to, honestly, we tried to put it back to gravity, because it's just less maintenance, it's easy to get to. We can do it by gravity, it's just there's a lot of rock excavation if we go that. So the costs skyrocket,
right,
you know? I mean, we think a gravity would have been an easier solution here. If you start going down a road where we have to redo the whole road, again, the costs are gonna go up.
Right.
Maybe there's a trade-off, we say, all right, well, maybe we go to gravity as long as we don't have to do the road. But if you're gonna defer it to DOT, then all bets are off, because we wouldn't have any, there's no risk management there. We could end up doing both,
no, right, yeah, you never know.
which would be a problem.
Definitely need something
So what do you need from us
in writing from
tonight?
them.
Well, we needed to re-up that there's an application in front. We needed to reconfirm that we have capacity from the town for water and sewer. We can defer the final detailing on this, we don't need to resolve that tonight. We just needed to remind you that there was a project here that sort of got approved, that's about to go back to an approval process. And we want to be able to state to the board, we've met with the commission, and we're on track to get a sewer and water approval. Even if you don't want to vote it tonight, that's fine. Just sort of send me on my way with sort of an indication, we'll figure it out, but you have water and sewer. Is that fair?
No, definitely.
So what about, water's not a problem, right?
Water and sewer really aren't a problem here. The concern is gonna be with what's being proposed for the sewer. You know, that definitely, I think, is gonna have to kick to a peer review at some point. It doesn't have to be tonight.
Well, it's not ready for tonight.
No,
so-
right, but we definitely should make sure that they're gonna be aware that something's coming their way, and the agreement would be between Weston and Sampson, not with
You know that,
the
right?
commission.
You know?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you tell me that's what you're gonna do,
It's-
you're gonna review it, so I gotta sign up with you, which
Right.
we'll do. We can agree to that tonight, we
Yeah.
know that's gonna happen. That's fine. Put it in the hydraulic model, and we have all of our flows, and just tell us that everything is good, it's fine.
Okay.
I'll go with that.
I mean, we definitely have the capacity, we can supply. And we said we were gonna work on finalizing the loop for the water there. And that's very basic, very simple.
Yeah, that was just sort of trying to oversimplify, but you pointed out we need the loop, we got the loop, and we're not gonna fight you on
Right,
that. It's fine.
very basic.
Yeah. So generally, I guess you can make a motion or just well, I think we're under discussion, so I don't know if you have to make a motion for anything, but I'll leave it to you all.
Vote on anything, really.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think everybody's under agreement with moving forward.
So you have more applications to fill out, reapply?
So we've already applied for planning. We're gonna sit down with them Tuesday night and start our review with them, and then we'll start with conservation, I think, at the beginning of December. So those are our 2 stops on the permitting track. We haven't officially filed the sewer and water connection permits with you. We'll do that obviously at the right time. And then, once we get through planning, we will then go to DOT. By the time we get through planning, we would want to identify that what are we doing? There's gonna be 2 permits with DOT. One is for our driveway curb cuts, the other is gonna be for all this utility work. We'd love to be able to go and sit down with them and review both of them. The driveway one, we don't think is a big deal,
Okay.
but this one obviously has much bigger implications. But we'd like to review both together with them, which means we have to sort of reach conclusion, whether it's with everybody here at the table, or if it's directly through you with their authorization. I don't know how you guys work, so I'll follow your lead.
Okay, good.
One thing that was mentioned to the previous project engineer, there was discussion about going down the edge of the road, still within the DOT easement, but in the dirt, in front of the houses on the baseball college side.
Okay?
They were pretty clear that that's exactly where that force main was gonna go, and I can tell you for a fact that there's a high-pressure gas main in that corridor. So if that hasn't been addressed by the previous engineer, I just wanna point it out that you may have a conflict of separation there.
Okay, so so in front of the ball field, you have a high-pressure gas line, is that
Or
what
on
you're
that
saying?
same side.
On that same
On the
side of
same
the road,
side.
running all the way up towards Reservoir, there's a high-pressure gas main that was installed.
Based on my experience working with the gas company, with the high-pressure gas, don't expect them to relocate it.
Yeah, I'm with you, I feel
I've
that,
tried,
yeah.
I've not been
What if I hit
successful.
it? Would they willing to move it at that
$1,000
point?
a foot.
You relocate yourself.
When I ran into that problem, they told me, it's an act of Congress in order to relocate the gas line. I said, okay, well, I'm not going there.
Do you have any idea what we're talking about in terms of?
I can see if I can dig up, so we ran across it unexpectedly, replacing a couple water services. It was not marked by them, even though we called for dig safe. They marked the old abandoned line. So let me see if I can pull up some cards. If I have actual measurements to it, I'll send them over to you.
Okay, if not, maybe if you have a name, I'll chase it out with a name.
Yep.
The Gunkel gas line that I ran into was a 6 or an 8.
Is that
I
2
I
inch?
believe that's 8 high pressure.
8?
Yeah.
Cool.
It was a cross-country line, again, not clearly marked, and that's why we didn't know about it. It's like we're a mind reader.
Yeah, when they went in, they actually installed it with their trenching unit, ditch witch, just oversized, and they actually bent 3 curb stops in a row, and actually bent them in a way that they actually shut the water services off when they went by. They backfilled and they were going, and I got calls
Oh my
in
God,
the
seriously?
afternoon to show up, so I showed up to the first one, I see it's bent over, start digging it by hand. Come up with this beautiful pipe right up against the curb stop.
But their job was done.
They were done, yeah.
They were done and gone, good for
So,
them.
yeah, 3 in a row. So, yeah, let me see what I can dig up, I'll get pictures over to you if I have.
So you
any
think that
measurements
runs down only near the ball field?
on it. That starts at
that you think
123 and runs all the way down that right-hand side of the road, at least to Reservoir. Whether it goes to Reservoir or continues
Where's
up,
it going from there? Where's it going from there? You don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I'm sure
I
it goes
didn't
right. I
investigate
can't
it.
imagine it going to Reservoir. We didn't run into that at all, did you, when we did the sewer in Reservoir?
We haven't done that section. We did water, but it wasn't in that area.
What's that?
We replaced that section of water main on Reservoir, but we were on the opposite side of the road.
Oh,
So,
So my other thing about the gas, the high-pressure gas, when I ran into this problem, I asked them what their separation distance was, and they wanted some astronomical number, which was not, wasn't gonna work for us. We had to negotiate, and the only way I was able to do it was I had to put a sleeve in. My pipe had even a sleeve in order for, an oversized sleeve, so in the event we had to do maintenance, we wouldn't impact the gas line.
What'd they end up giving you for clearance?
I think they wanted 3 feet, we ended up with like 4 inches. I was crossing a perpendicular pressure.
Yeah. Okay.
The 3 feet wasn't gonna work in any regard. I was putting in a gravity sewer, so I had some constraints.
yeah, some limitations. Awesome.
you good?
Okay, I'm good.
Awesome.
You want me to leave some plans? You want to take a set of plans? Is he
I
quoting
think
it
it's
for
too
you?
early for us to
You
look
think
at,
it's
don't you
early?
think?
It is early. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's too early.
Okay.
I think it'd be wasting your money, don't you think?
I mean,
He's
Well,
got-
it's-
I
I've
figured
seen him at
you
some
could-
point.
You could start to cost it out from it, but if you
Yeah.
want, I mean, we probably PDF.
yeah.
I was gonna say electronic might be a little simpler.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
All right, whatever you want, I figured you start running sort of the, your hydraulic model check or whatever you want him to do, and then we can get in the weeds on, but we can wait.
You
That's
bring that
good.
home, your daughter's gonna draw all of it.
Yeah, that's messed up. So PDFs are definitely the way to go. And we'll carve out.
She'll put a sewer line in for you.
She will, sure, yeah, it'll be much better.
Yeah, PDF is probably much better.
Okay, thank you. Very good, thank you all.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Good luck with your meetings next week. And after.
All right. Superintendent updates is next.
Ooh,
Everyone's favorite.
I choose not to.
you want to defer?
What are you doing, throwing stuff at me? He's throwing the gavel at me.
Cheese and rice.
Sound.
I'm out of order.
All right, we'll start off with Cottage Street.
Thanks.
Thank you again.
Bye-bye.
Aerator and mixer. Start off, I was gonna say it's moving along at a constant pace. Tank cleaning was actually, was better than expected. There was only a couple inches of sediment in the bottom, mainly at the external lip where the footing was. So obviously, treatment plant is doing its job, and the limited amount of flushing we've been able to do is obviously helping. So the news came down tonight around 5 o'clock that the aerator and mixer are actually operational. Tank is still offline. We haven't got the DEP approval yet, but it's operational right now. So
Is there water in it?
water in it,
Full of water.
past bacteria
Bacteria?
testing.
Good.
So yeah, definitely.
Second sample tomorrow.
Yep.
And then
So that's
on-site
done
Friday.
ahead of time, right? Didn't we envision that wasn't gonna work until
Steve,
January?
sometimes we really crush it.
All you gotta do is whip her every now and then, she'll get it.
Now, they knew that they were gonna do this job, and we were just waiting for that notice to proceed, so they
Awesome.
already
That's
had a
great.
lot of their
That's great
contracts
news.
ready to go and delivery, and we're not in
Great
peak
news.
demand season, so it was good to drain the tank and.
It worked, yeah. It was a challenge, but it worked. While that was going on, we lost well 4. Pump ended up clogging due to iron and manganese, so we were able to have Frank Sullivan pull that while he was there.
Is he still in town?
He is still in town, his son's doing most of the work. So he pulled it. I don't think you'll see a mobilization fee, but don't quote me on that.
No, I just talked to Luke today too, that was
We
his
heard
thing.
a number, and that's what I'm going with.
Right,
so.
right, so, because that project was coming in quicker than usual and under budget, we were able to use some of the funds from the Well 4 improvement project to improve Well 4. So, it was cleaned very quickly. Pump was actually cleaned, checked, and actually came back okay. The VFDs now are so sensitive that it picked up on the iron and manganese load starting to gather on the pump and tripped it out, so it didn't burn up any wires or anything. So we got pretty lucky, knock on wood, we'll take a win.
Wow, you are lucky,
We'll take a win when we get it. We thought for sure it was cooked, and
that's great.
we're gonna have to throw a pump at it, but I believe Cassandra has been down to the site, meeting with Derek, working on new Well 4, coming up with some final determinations if we're gonna go with a vault or additional piping and some valving and stuff down there, just to move that along quickly, and that goes out to bid
So
winter?
our goal is definitely this winter, so we've got, the water quality sampling and pumping test was complete. Now, the next step is to get all the permitting into DEP with those results. And we just need to modify the plans a little bit. We are working with Derek to kind of just, instead of doing a vault, go through the existing building and kind of modify a little bit inside there. And yeah, just making sure the hydrants are in the right location for how you guys want to flush that, because there's a few existing mains that I'd be more than happy to propose to get rid of on those plans, but we can talk about that.
Yeah, so years ago, to meet the fall log requirement, we had to put in basically the rat race of water mains.
Yeah.
And, that's still in place with existing Well 4, with the new modified Well 4 and the vision
So
looking forward.
Is 4 on the other side of the river?
Same side as the
Same
water
side as the
treatment
front,
facility,
yeah,
yep,
okay.
out back. So there's definitely some options there to remove a few lengths of pipe and avoid all that issue with, low flow and settlement and all that, so. That's what we're working on now, all that fun stuff. And jump over to VFD replacements. The next tank that we're actually gonna be looking at, which actually may happen on Friday, I've heard.
Yep.
DN Tanks may actually have some time to go look at the 3 million gallon tank, Mansfield Ave, which will be one of our next project improvements for possibly a mixer aerator and changing the level of the floor. So this tank was built back in '98 and '99. It was somehow incorrectly built, that the base of the tank floor is below the suction levels of the pumps in the building. So when you get to a certain point, if the pumps are running, you're perfectly fine. If they shut off, everything drains back and you can't get them running again until you fill the tank. Yeah.
This was not our design,
It
I'm
was
just gonna go
not.
on record, that was not us.
I was just gonna say,
Who did that? You know?
I wanna say that potentially that it was paid for by the golf course to expand that area of the system at that
It
time.
was part of
so.
the discussions that took place back then, that it was necessary, and then never had a main extend where it was agreed upon, so. definitely some challenges. The tank shouldn't be in this position where it is in town. It does really nothing for us.
How would they have to do that?
More than likely, based
They need to
on,
lower it?
no, they need to raise
Raise
it.
it up.
Oh.
Well, yeah, that's,
So
so we're
then
gonna
they-
send them
so
out
they-
there and check it
yeah.
out. There's a couple things, you could lower the actual pump station, and then it would be, well, we could create it into a basement level versus a confined space, but that would be pretty expensive. So we're just gonna analyze the cost. So what would the builders of the original tank, you know, as NACCUM at the time, and now DN tanks or DN.
Is that a DN tank now? Did you say? It's a
NACCUM, it
DN
was,
tank?
yeah, originally NACCUM. So they're, you know, the thought is to kind of just readjust the floor elevation. There, you've 7-8 feet or so of non-usable storage in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you use,
What do they do, just fill it with concrete?
Basically.
Fire?
well, it would be concrete, it would probably
It'd
be
be-
low flow.
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
potentially crushed stone for a set of
Right,
it.
you
Right,
you
right.
Fill it
build
up
it
with a- build a new base,
like a
basically.
foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just need to double check with the weight of that,
And then-
Right,
low,
right.
Yeah.
low weight versus
So
water.
we were already discussing reducing the capacity of that tank anyway.
Yeah, we were.
This brings up, you know, maybe a solution that was unanticipated but may work. You know, so
How old is that tank?
It's interesting.
99,
Just before
it went
2000.
online, I believe. No, I stand corrected. The tank was built in 99, it went online, I believe, in 2001, because we were out of warranty when the tank went online, and it was a pump that was installed backwards.
Jesus.
That was one of the first things that I ended up replacing when I came in.
I don't wanna know who designed it now.
No, we won't discuss that.
Okay,
So, VFDs, obviously that station's is relatively old, there's
Can I
3
go back
pumps.
to the tank?
You sure can.
So the Mansfield Ave tank, so DM's gonna look at the tank for us and do what? Give us some-
We're working with them kind of under we put a little bit extra in our engineering budget, knowing that
Okay.
we're gonna try to actively work with these guys during the 2 million gallon storage tank to kind of go over, move from Cottage Street and help us through. And then we'll have, we'll work with them during the full design, if that's the route, once we approve funding for that to move to the next stage. But we want to get a little bit of a baseline for planning level costs.
Just to see what our options are there and, you know, how impactful it may or may not be. You know,
We don't need that tank? You alluded that it doesn't do us any good, so what does that mean?
it couldn't be in a worse location in the town logistically. We do use that tank. We move water back and forth between that tank and the Cottage Street tank, through Mansfield Ave, through Freeman Street, you know, to turn the water over. We use it for fire pump flows and for hydrant flushing. Being that it's on the outskirts of town, there's issues every time it gets turned on with changes of major flows on some of the bigger roads. Not so much, thankfully, knock on wood, with the water treatment facility being online for almost 6 years now. We just need to improve the water quality there, similar to the issues that we saw at Cottage Street in the center of town with THMs. We have to assume that the same issues could happen there. The longer you hold on to the water, the increase in THMs are definitely a possibility. So we want to address it, keep it in the mix, because it is viable, you know, to fire suppression and everything else that we do in town. If and when we come up with the solution to the well 1 and well 3 issue with whatever alternatives options we come up with, you know, having this with aerated water, we'll be able to put it into the mix and almost operate it as a well. So years back, probably 10, 12 years ago, the Cottage Street ground storage tank, we used to actually turn on every weekend and pump water to distribute to the town and basically give the wells a rest. You know, since then, we've had growth, we've had the wells change. Outputs have changed with low volume pumps now and everything going through the treatment facility, so we've lost that opportunity to use that as a source. Now that the aerator is going back in, the water quality is going to improve. We're going to try and get that back in, and I think the next step would be to go to 3 million and do the same thing. You know, maybe alternate uses, use it as off-peak, you know, just to keep the water moving in the distribution system, whereas in the past, you know, it would create havoc with the system anytime that pump came on. The 3 pumps out of there, they're all 1,000 gallons a minute, you know, so definitely more than what the wells are putting out now, except for a combined flow from the treatment facility. So we're getting back to where we were before, that we may be able to use it as a source, providing we can fill it fast enough.
Right.
How high is that tank above the suction? Approximately? I mean, these tanks are normally low.
No, this
Right.
one's probably 30 feet, just taking a guess. Been a while since I've been up there, but it takes quite the ladder to get up to the top. It's massive. It's,
Yeah.
when you think of 3 million gallons, you don't think of this tank, but when you see it, when you walk around
You been there?
on a cold winter's day, it's the cold side.
No, actually I haven't, I just looked at the plans, but.
It's quite the facility.
This sits in back of the elevated tank?
No, this one is separate from everything off of Mansfield Ave, so.
That is Cottage Street, though.
Cottage
You're thinking Cottage
Yep.
Street, yeah.
It's like across the street from McDonald's.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
All right, well,
and it could come into play in the future if we do end up looking at intermunicipal connections with Mansfield, and we could do
we'll
something
talk about that in a minute.
on 140. No, we won't. I'm done with my updates.
All right.
All right, so to keep going, VFDs, we do need to replace at least one of the VFDs there. We do have money that was appropriated, quite a while ago when I first started. So we're definitely going to address one of those, so you will see a bill come through for probably around $18,000, because that's the new cost of the cheap VFDs.
Yeah.
We should have about $23,000 remaining in that account, so it's not like we're asking for any money, it was already previously allocated. Not as part of this, but speaking of VFDs and electronics, we had an issue at Cobb Street over the weekend with the transfer switch for the generator.
Oh.
The transfer switch was not upgraded.
Yep. Oh.
No, was not upgraded as part of the Cobb Street
Steve.
improvement project
Jesus.
because
Steve.
it was only a year old at the time.
Oh, wow, no
So
kidding.
Okay.
the control board melted a few diodes. It got stuck in emergency generator option only, and it wouldn't recognize line power. So we spent the better part of Friday night out there with electricians and National Grid, testing and checking everything to figure out that it's a little battery-sized piece that melted on the back of the board. So we're in the process of working with the generator company to get that board replaced and/or other components in the transfer
What kind of
switch.
generator is that? Is that a cat?
The generator is not, and the transfer switch is not, but it's actually a Kohler, and it was compatible with the new generator at the time. So it's fairly new, and it's unfortunate, and, par for the course for Norton. Both electricians that we had out there said they've never seen anything burn that bad before. So, just.
We had a surge at Red Mill Village a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if that had something to do with it.
The generator exercised last week normally,
Oh.
transferred back and forth. Friday around 3:20 in the afternoon, we got the call for generator run, which was abnormal. Went down, checked on it, verified it was operational. The indicator did not show line power available, so we assumed that there was a leg down being three-phase. Checked it a couple hours later, it was still running, and that's when the process began. We called the grid in and checked
Now,
it.
this happened a couple of weeks ago, so.
Yeah, we had a similar issue, I think it was townwide, that it tripped a few of the.
Yeah, it was only
other
lasted like a
generators.
second.
Yeah, not just enough, dirty power, and some of the newer stations picked up on it and didn't switch. Some of the older ones, went through the process and started and switched, so.
Yeah, knocked out a couple of phase circuits in our, but not all the circuit.
Yeah, very strange. But the grids are getting overworked, I guess. So that's fine, I'll go right into staffing. So speaking of overwork, just to make sure you are all aware, we learned that Michelle Brown, the assistant to the town manager, has actually decided to retire. After
Jeez.
many, many years of service to the town and, being an integral part of the town and the community. Obviously we wish her well.
Yeah.
We've heard that the position is not going to be filled, as the town is now going to pursue an assistant town manager position.
Right.
So it's.
Well, that was
Also
pretty,
assisted
that was pretty
to the
obvious
town
during
manager.
town meeting.
It
that
was,
happening.
it started the discussion at town
Yeah.
meeting,
Yep.
and that's how it moved forward. We've also learned that the town manager is not going to fill the assistant superintendent position here as well.
Really?
Yes.
Why? You get the reason?
There's some staffing changes and title changes, I think that will be coming in the near future, that will address all of that. And workloads will be divvied up amongst those who remain.
Oh boy.
So
So,
what are you actually saying?
I'm not
That
saying
means
anything other than what I just
he's gonna
said.
retire.
Oh, I don't have time to retire yet. So, we'll learn as we go. I mean, it's a process, there's
So
definitely
the
some
better
changes.
question is how can you get everything done that John used to do with you?
Without taking time off. I've already lost
So I
two
mean, is
vacations.
there something else we can do? Can you ask these guys to do it?
I don't think it's cost effective.
I know it's not
to
cost
do that.
Town
effective,
manager
I
will love
understand
that.
it's not
Right, no,
cost effective, I'm not care about the money, I'm care about workload.
I've been able to float everything to date with what needs to be done, coming very close to a few deadlines. Just very limited in who I can ask to do some of the work that John used to do, and not take away from their current jobs. You know, I know Brooke has offered multiple times to pick up some of the slack, and I think unfortunately we may have to pass a few things over to her. But her window of free time is nil compared to, you know, how it was 5 to 10 years ago. So it'll definitely be something we're gonna work through and see what we can do.
This is probably a stupid question, but do most towns have an assistant superintendent in their water department? Is that normal?
I honestly don't know.
I mean, I would guess it would be normal.
We don't have an assistant, we have chief operator.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Basically his assistant, that's just the way how we have it structured.
Okay.
Yeah, the titles
Basically
and
the same
stuff
thing
Right.
as
right.
John did, yeah.
aren't as important as the workload that each
Right,
person
right.
takes under as the staff, you know, chain goes down. So we're working through that process and continue to do the best I can with what I got.
And I know with my work, I don't have anyone in the department that can do the paperwork that I do at least. Not even Sean. Sean's never
That's-
done it before, because he was my foreman and he
Yep.
went over me. And
Right, there's only certain things that certain people have access to, going through the EDP porthole, you know, dealing with the EEA and the EPA, you know, again, there's limited levels of access that you can achieve based on years of experience, licenses and all this stuff, so it's not as simple as just handing it to somebody else, you know, and even if that was to take place, the learning curve and the training process is actually gonna create more delays than just trying to do it myself.
Right.
Is that something that we could lean on Weston and Sampson for?
We may knock on their door a few times with some projects or some reviews and stuff like that in the future. Actually, there's one that I just sent you an email
I
about
just
the other
don't wanna
day.
see you get burnt out.
No,
I
yeah,
just-
I'm
that's
doing
the
what I
biggest
can,
thing.
and we'll keep going and keep our head above water. But it was actually the discharge permit, I believe, for the wastewater, for the water treatment facility.
Yeah, and we would normally help you with
Right.
that anyway, but we can certainly just
Right.
take it all.
Yeah, they moved the deadline up on that of all things, which was kind of surprising, so I think paperwork is due in by like December 8th, which is really right around the corner.
So speaking on behalf of the commissioners,
Sure.
not that I have the right to do that, but I think we agree that if you need help, we give you permission to seek it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
I mean, you're only, you know, there's only 100 hours in the week, I mean, what else can you do? So, so Brooke, I'm not so sure what Brooke does or Janice does, or really what anybody else, but I know that when I sign the invoices, Janice does all this stuff. Is there, I mean, I think we've made, well, we haven't done anything, we made our workload less. Is there anything possible to reduce our workload on this stuff? Is the town manager looking to simplify this horrible process?
I would hope that he is. I know he reviews just about every large dollar amount item that goes through because I've been called and had questions asked about it. So the review process up there is a lot more stringent now than it has been in the past. I believe it's part of the learning curve as he's coming in, getting to familiarize himself with projects and spending. You know, everything from the electrical bills that, you know, we don't open up and gasp when we see a $12,000 a month bill. We know that's normal, but obviously putting that in front of somebody who's not expecting to see that, you know, it brings up a question. And then, you know, projects that we've had in the works for multiple years or multiple months, whatever it may be, you know, he wasn't a part of that initial approval process. So there's definitely a learning curve up there, and I'm glad that he's got involved. You know, maybe we can lean on him for some simplified
I don't
solutions.
even know how she does it, by the way.
That's a better part of 2.5 days' work.
I know it's.
Before
it's
each meeting.
Total insanity, I think.
Yeah, so then after you guys sign that, the bill schedules and everything get copied and everything goes up to town hall, they review it up there, and then it goes through the process up there, so there's definitely
Just,
a
I mean, a
time
paperless
consuming.
society, but somehow we keep on generating it anyway.
Yep,
Uh,
yeah, it's definitely, it's a process, and, you know, I don't understand how to make a change, or else I would recommend one.
I can't imagine that somebody hasn't worked this out already somewhere that, to eliminate that. I just, mind-boggling to me.
It may be there, and maybe you just don't wanna share it with us. But, yeah, it definitely will be
Maybe you
wonderful.
pay your bills online, like normal people.
I won't even get into the fact that we don't have a credit card. That was removed years ago. The town has one though. But, all right, let me go to wastewater equipment upgrades. We've run into problems now with 2 separate submersible pumps, and these are a newer style pump. It's called an N. It's an improved pump with a cutter on it. Years ago, I mean, I can still take pumps out of storage that I had in place that ran for 30 years with no issues at all, no cutter, no nothing fancy. These newer style pumps, we're getting about 700 hours out of them before the bearings are starting to drop.
Jesus.
You know,
Is that our only option, or is there any comparable product out there that would work better for us?
it's based on the station, so you're limited by certain models that'll fit
Oh.
into an existing station without a huge retrofit. So instead of sending these pumps back and having them rebuilt, which, you know, again, 700 hours is nothing for a wastewater pump. We're reaching out to a couple other companies that our sewer tech had dealt with when he worked for another town to see if, you know, there's another option. You know, maybe there's a different bearing, one that's, you know, not as soft but still works. You know, just to come up with some ideas here. Other than that, one thing that's been brought up is testing the actual facilities themselves. So I know we've discussed this in the past about once we were done with the larger sewer stations, we were going to look at doing some checks and balances at some of the smaller stations, maybe some smaller generator upgrades, some electrical upgrades, things like that. So based on some of the meg and the amp loads that we've taken from these pumps, we're concerned with the control panels and the wiring going to them. So years ago, if the pump would fail, you take the pump out, you send it off, get rebuilt, you put it back in, it may work. But if you're not getting the right amps going to it, if your wires are wrong size because now you've modified your pump but not your control panel, you know, there's other things that could be going on leading to, you know, the demise here if they're not working in their pump curve and their optimum range. So maybe not right away, but in the near future, we're gonna see if we can bring an electrician in, just have him go through a couple of these stations and, you know, just verify that everything we have there is working correctly before we keep throwing money away at these pumps. You know, they're about $15,000 a
I'm still in
piece.
shock about the 700 hours.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And looking
You
back
heard
at the
anything?
records,
So great.
you know, each pump that's failed
Pumps
has
are not
been,
working as well as they used to.
has been an N model, and they've come up just about on 700 hours.
Is the temp generator gone at,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, it has been going. We're still running on the Dinosaur that we were able to fix with a combination of in-house repairs and Southwell generator doing some work there, so knock on wood, that one
That's
stays
good,
stays good.
Grade was is close too, so I mean, that's, yeah, no, all right.
What else we got? What else we got here? I already said about Cobb Street, and done.
Nice, nicely done.
I try.
All right, WS time.
Well, I guess that leads right into the pump station projects.
That's right, I called him and woke him up.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess the biggest thing at Elm Street is the torch has been passed to you. So you'll be taking over. No sewer, obviously.
No presentations.
No presentations. Terrible. Limit those presentations. But yeah, it's just figuring out what the plan is going forward. So we'll keep you guys in the loop as to.
We're not putting, extending a water main on that smaller road near,
Miller
is
Terrace.
that Parker?
Miller
Miller Terrace, yeah.
So that's actually something that I was going to bring up. Was,
sorry.
Are we
Oh,
still? Are we still considering that? Because that actually did come up at one of the public meetings that we did, was why are we including water on the terrace? I mean, when John was here, his recollection was that it was all
Spaghetti lines,
It is.
yeah.
down that road, so it's 600 feet down to the end of that road.
Right.
So I don't see why it couldn't get included in the project.
Yeah, it wasn't part of the original scope when it was drafted by the previous town planner. It didn't get added in. There was no concern at the time.
Yeah.
During that process, National Grid ended up drilling through it twice. So we knew exactly where it shouldn't be, which is underneath the telephone poles, and we knew exactly what size it was. So, yes, undersized spaghetti line, no hydrant down there, so definitely something we should address if possible as part of the project. If not, in the least, remember the discussions were that we were gonna leave a stub for it,
Yes.
get it to the edge of the road, and we could possibly do the work in-house ourselves if necessary.
How many homes in Militaris?
There is
4.
probably 4 right now that are there, but there is land on the opposite side of the road, undeveloped.
Well, it just makes sense to do it.
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't make sense not to do it.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
All right.
Oh, now she's writing notes.
That's a lot of paperwork for this, that little presentation.
This is Steve Peterson. Before I left here, he handed this to me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What else you got?
So Cottage Street Phase 3, we have the executed contract in place. Next step is to set up a site visit so that we can update the capital improvements plan for it. I can reach out to Bruno and set up a site visit with him and just see, what's been done already, what needs to be done. And really, our contract focuses on replacing the pumps, the valving with it, and then electrical upgrades with upgrading the pumps as well. I assume the automatic transfer switch is gonna be more pressing.
Hopefully it's fixed by then.
Yeah, hopefully it's fixed by then, it's more pressing than what the time frame is for this. So, target time we're looking at is a bid and award in the spring, summer of 2026. Lead times will be a big thing for the pumps. I don't think there's any anticipated hiccups with any of the lead times for the pumps, but that's, what we're looking at is a spring, summer.
Don't tell me we're gonna get another muffin monster. I
Uh,
that has nothing to do with it, I just like saying the word.
You gotta say
They don't make those anymore?
Oh, we use them all the
No,
time.
they still
Oh,
make
they
them,
make
right?
them, yeah.
Great invention.
yeah.
So, we're upgrading the pumps to so when you, they're submersible pumps, right?
No, it's
these,
suction.
Okay, fine, okay.
Or flooded suction.
Flood suction.
So, when we do our actual site visit and run through all the needs at the pump station, we could talk to Bruno and just see, how far do you wanna go with upgrading the pumps? You're gonna replace them in kind, do they actually, meet the pump curve that they're at right now? Are there any issues with the pumps, meeting that pump curve, and can we do anything to improve efficiency and performance of those pumps at the pump station, so.
Are we envisioning anything being built in that area that's gonna impact Top Street?
No, that station is over-designed for what it is right now. So there is no need for anything bigger or
Okay.
improved down there.
That's fine.
Other than the fact that we probably have some high-efficiency pumps that may be installed compared to the dinosaurs that are in place right now.
Yeah, one option when we were doing sewer on Elm Street was to pump it all the way up to Cobb Street as well, and just sewer Elm Street all the way up to Cobb Street, discharge there, so it's
Capable.
It's capable.
It's a great station,
yeah,
yeah.
it's capable, so.
Okay.
Next on the list, the Great Woods generator. So Steve had provided kind of just a cost breakdown for what you were including in the town meeting article, town meeting authorized capital budget for it. So the next step is to execute a contract for it. I do have a contract for consideration based on the numbers that Steve has provided for you. So if you take a look at it, it's basically for the $95,000 that we discussed, 20 for the pump station evaluation, because really that's gonna include, development of a capital improvements plan for that pump station. The biggest thing is the generator, providing a new 175 kilowatt generator.
That's part of the money you just
Correct, yeah,
mentioned?
that's part of it's the design, bidding and construction of the generator replacement. And then that also includes any potential other upgrades that we want to include when we do the pump station evaluation there. Because we haven't done any pump station evaluations at Greatwood that I know of.
No, it's been Cobb Street only. So is the specific language that was requested by the town manager in this new contract? Because I would tell you he's not gonna look at it if it's not.
I'm not sure, I don't.
Call Steve.
Steve did mention that to me, and it is not.
So I guess that's just a visual that you can see. You
Yeah, we
won't make
may
any
need to
motions.
discuss with our lawyers on
Sure.
that wording, so.
So you're saying that Mark wants different terms and conditions?
He's presented us with a specific paragraph that he wants to see in all contracts moving forward.
So we can't vote on this?
No. If it's
So tell
not
me
in-
what the, just the,
They're gonna run out of
I
ideas.
honestly don't even remember what the exact
It is
language
a
was, but it's a
termination clause.
termination of clause. This specific wording that's in there, most of their Western Sampson contracts that were approved by KP Law multiple times have very similar language in it, but he has very specific language that he's requested to be in all contracts moving forward.
hate when the lawyers get involved with these contracts.
So yeah, we'll have to look at that, I guess.
Sorry.
So, yeah, I said it was for consideration.
There you go.
So, you've seen this?
I have not.
Why don't you review it and offer us comment?
I can do that.
Okay. You have a copy, right?
He does now.
I will once he hands it to me. There we go.
Yeah, so that contract includes, like I said, just, the pump station evaluation, the design, bidding, construction services. Pretty similar to the Cobb Street Phase 3 contract that's already been executed, just for more specific for developing a capital improvements plan for the Greatwoods pump station. And one thing that Steve had mentioned that we probably might want to consider is the generator lead time for Greatwoods. Lead times have been issues in the past. I've seen upwards of a whole year for that. So we could consider combining that specific generator piece as part of the Cobb Street Phase 3 projects. Similar to what we did for Knollwood and Holly Road. We had two different pump stations. Granted, that was two generator improvements. We can just, it's essentially just including another sheet and some more specifications in the design that we put together for Cobb Street Phase 3. So, just a consideration if we wanted to go that route. But again, the lead times are the bigger issue there.
No, I mean, it makes sense. That was one of the discussions that we had with another board who was concerned about the cost of the temporary generator being in place while this work was going on.
Yep.
They wanted to make sure that everything was done to try to avoid the need for a temporary generator, which would
Yeah.
obviously mean ordering the new generator, having it on site, stored while modifications to the building are going and taking place, and then the swap would be relatively quick.
Yep.
And you'd have the cost savings, but
Yeah, and potential.
that's perfect world scenario, and we know how things work, so.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to review that, let us know if there's any
Definitely.
good comments on it or anything with
Thank
it.
you for that.
It's modeled after the Cobb Street Phase 3 agreement, which was already executed, so just specific towards Greatwoods. So yeah, I mean, the only other thing I had was the West Main Street sewer extension Phase 2. So what we're going to do is, under the existing general services agreement, we're just going to utilize that contract in order to prepare the study document for West Main Street Phase 2. And then that study is going to include a CWMP update and a summary memorandum of what it's going to take in order to put sewer over there. And some of the key stakeholders for that were the Norton Public Schools, the middle school. As you all know, their treatment facilities offline. They've been granted the ability to just have a Title V discharge for that at the middle school. I think they have 3 years to find an alternative method for their discharge. So they're gonna be a key stakeholder. Valentine Tool had interest, Goat City Pub, and then, you know, proposed developments, so. Yeah, it'll look at the existing infrastructure and essentially how we're gonna get that sewer flow up West Main Street, to the Housing Authority pump station.
So one thing to mention on that, and I know Steve and I touched base on it very briefly, was the opportunity to use the existing corridor where the old water main, it has the sewer sleeve in it.
Yep.
I didn't know if you'd address that as an option,
Mhm.
just as it'll get you, you know,
Correct.
5 or 6 feet in the ground without any obstructions.
Yes.
Until you get to that pipe, obviously you may need to go deeper.
Yeah.
But,
Mhm.
you know, knowing what we ran into in the other stretch,
Yes.
you know, we'll take 6 feet of nothing.
Yes, we'll take what's already there, and that's exactly, the slip line water main,
Excellent.
Main Street is what you mentioned, so. It's something we'll look at as an option, when we start taking a serious look at what the options are. I think that's all I got for wastewater.
Any idea how long that would take? Just, there's quite a few people that have questioned
Mhm.
on what the next move is for that, so I'd like to be able to pass something along.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you know, we could get to it maybe at the beginning of the year, maybe, you know, have something at the beginning of next year, to present, so I can get back to you on that.
No problem.
Get you a better idea.
I'd rather have the ballpark than nothing.
Mhm.
Ready for water?
Let's do it.
Exciting, okay. The good news is we kind of covered a lot of this already, so well forward, there's nothing more on the updates on that. As far as Cottage Street, the only thing that was different that I'd like to add, I guess, would be just a pay estimate from DN Tanks.
So you wanna get paid.
Pay estimate number 2, I'll pass this over to Jim.
Ready?
And it's basically, you know, they're almost fully done with everything, but this is kind of through the end of last month.
Does he sign this?
And that would be the add-on is to.
Frank signed,
Frank
okay.
signed, yes, please.
Okay, I will go ahead then and make a motion to approve pay estimate number 2 for the Cottage Street ground storage tank project to DN Tanks LLC in the amount of $169,717.50 and approve Superintendent Frank to sign for it.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
50 cents, where's the 50 cents come from?
It's that,
What's
it's that,
factor
the
there?
percentage,
there.
you know, lump sum, we're just trying to split those pennies. And if we're on a roll with approving pay estimates, so the next topic, I'm gonna speak a little bit more on this one, but South Worcester Street, so, this pay estimate is predominant, it's just, police details from the past water main installation.
Okay,
I underlined that one too, and that's for CC Construction.
and that's just for Frank to sign as well?
And for Frank to sign.
Okay, then I would like to make a motion to approve pay estimate number 8 for the South Worcester Street and East Hodges Street area water main improvement projects to CC Construction in the amount of $30,186.60 and allow Superintendent Frank to sign for it.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's based on the couple fittings we put in for pennies.
For 60 cents?
Yeah.
They painted it out?
Penny a pound.
Yep.
So as an update on South Worcester Street, which I wasn't able to get to Frank before this meeting, so this will be a little bit new for him, but we've been trying to get them out there to do the permanent trench pavement, which we talked about at the last meeting. The rain has not really been helping, but tomorrow they should know from the paper what the official date is. They're aiming for next week still, hoping to get out there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, wrap it all up for the winter. It may get pushed depending if we continue to have a little bit of cold weather or rain into Monday, Tuesday. Really don't want to be working on Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So the goal is to have them end by Tuesday, the week of Thanksgiving at the very least. So I'll keep you guys all posted. I'll send an email update as soon as we
Everything's
know.
done, you guys are happy? Everything-
Yeah, there's one little spot in front of a driveway that's got a little, I drove by it before I came to the meeting. So if they're not planning to come out on Wednesday, I don't think it's changed too much from the photo that Frank sent me a couple weeks ago, but we were hoping to have them come out. It might need to be dug up, but if they're not gonna come out until the week of
Was
Thanksgiving.
just a sinkhole or something?
It's a little spot, it's kind of at the seam where we ended the trench one day and started a new one, and it's right at the edge of the trench, so it's kind of a little pocket where,
Don't make any noise.
now, so, well, yeah. So anyway, long and short of that, if they're not gonna get out there ASAP, then we'll have them put some cold patch in and then wrap it up the week of Thanksgiving if
Okay,
need be. But it's right now, drove the trench as well, I know I've got a newer SUV, so my shocks are probably a lot better than the school bus that goes down there, but for the most part, it's in pretty darn decent shape. There's a couple areas that are a little rumble strippy, so it'll be great to get out there. We would normally kind of try to hold that a little bit longer, but obviously, you know, we want to get it done, and we're going to do curb to curb next year, so get this in a much better shape for the winter and plowing season.
Awesome.
They did fix, I think the day of the last meeting, we had or the day before that, I believe, we had a customer that we had the water shut off. There was a small leak in their water service, and it was not part of this project. It actually, I have a video, and we'll see if it gets through your firewall, Frank, but.
Was it on the homeowner side?
Yeah, it's on the homeowner side, about like 6 feet or so in from where we put we do basically every water main job. We go in, brand new water main, and from the main all the way to the property line or curb stop, we replace that whole stretch.
Yep.
It happened about 6 feet in, and it was a pretty good gushing hole, so that, they repaired that stretch. They came out kind of within a couple hours. Actually, it was pretty good.
Did they charge the homeowner, or is that part of the project?
We're gonna put it under the project, so.
I agree.
You don't know until you dig it up and find it, and if it wound up not being them, we would have obviously had them repair it at their own cost if it was them, so. Good that we called them instead of having the water department do it in a sense for that, if it was their fault. In this case, save the crew from going out there.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then there are a couple, we're gonna investigate the fence post, so that'll be, when they get back out there, that's gonna be something that they look at. But yeah, the big thing, and the dumpster, and they've got a couple storage units. They said probably by the end of this week, they'll hopefully get that removed, but I think that was it on the, yeah, the big thing is the paving. I know everybody's really focused on making sure that gets nice and wrapped up. And I would assume if weather's adequate enough that we could, you know, for some reason something delays, Jared will probably be okay with doing the week after Thanksgiving, but we'll cross that bridge tomorrow if we have to go there. But I'm really hoping that that we can see some drier weather, even though it's great for the water industry for recharge. Elm Street, so as Ryan discussed, we're basically going to take that over. We just need to pull the sewer out, make sure you guys are comfortable with what you have for the water. You've got plenty in the appropriation to cover the water work now. So if we do want to do a little bit more work to kind of button things up down, you know, terrace, that's not a big deal. And our goal is to get that out over the winter and have a spring construction on that. So, and we've worked with MassWorks as well, so I'm not concerned about transitioning that over. We've worked with John Way and had a good relationship on other projects. So. So I'll get an amendment to that contract probably for the next meeting. At this point, I think I've got a pretty good idea of exactly what you guys want. If anything comes up, let me know. But I think we're pretty much you know, connected to the stub that's been left out from the Mass DOT job. We bring it all the way to Reservoir Street, where we ended in 2017.
Beautiful. That'll be a great tie-in.
Yep. And then let's see. So next projects. Really, I guess we're now down to the fun PFAS project. So you guys had approval at the town meeting to add on some additional funding. We added in a little bit of a new source search through the entire town to that project too. So it's about, was it $445,000 I believe was appropriated. That kind of can get you jump started sooner than later as we work through that grant with Mass DEP. So you have the Small Systems Emerging Contaminants Grant, $1.5 million. We do need to kind of solidify the scope for that. We've been talking on what we wanted to do, and I think we're all still on the same page unless there's something different with town manager, but the intent for that funding was to kick off basically pilot testing, getting manganese treatment over at Well 1, and getting something in there to basically start treating immediately and kind of get some baseline knowledge on that, see what it's going to take for, you know, a full range of construction.
Don't they have little temp trailers now? That can the filtration trailers. I saw one at Worcester. That's why I don't know anything about it. I really didn't look into it. I wasn't really.
Yeah. So the big thing with any temporary setup is where you're going to go with the waste discharge, right? So that's pretty much what we'll have to do is just be pumping it out as we need to. But at the very least, we want to run that for 3-6 months, get that out there, and potentially longer. We'll see how it all runs out.
Sure.
And then there's the option to kind of go with PFAS. Treatment over at Well 3 as well as kind of a temporary pilot testing over there, and then with the $400,000 or so that was recently appropriated, if you wanted to move forward with design of interconnections or upgrades, I should say. So I did provide the draft it's a draft, I will call this, because we actually have to provide you with a full report for what our analysis is gonna be for the alternatives analysis. But this is a technical memo that just kind of outlines all of those different alternatives that we had. And I think the second page, I would say, the table here kind of outlines the 9 different options that you have for as far as water quality treatment. Yeah, and I apologize for not bringing copies, because it's in draft form, I'm very hesitant to give hard copies out to anybody on this.
So this is just.
I could have easily printed that, I was just curious.
I know.
I just printed the one
Yeah.
page here.
This is the draft?
This is the draft, yeah. So, but the intent is really to more thoroughly go through this. I just know that after our last meeting and some other discussions with Frank, you guys are getting questions. And questions are coming in, select board, town manager, other folks, and just want to kind of outline to you, here's what this whole project is supposed to look at. And then the goal is to come down to obviously an equitable solution, so it doesn't cost the water customers money to an extraordinary amount. And then the second to last page kind of covers the well improvements, which I think for maintaining your own sources is something that we've heard from multiple folks on your side and as well as the water department, that let's get well 1, figure a solution out there. Do we want to do a well field? So this kind of gets through the hydrogeological evaluation, which is replace well 1, replace well 2, which we're finding is not a viable option. You just don't have, it's not going to work where you don't have the land in the location where you need it. Well, option 3 is kind of the new well field, which we think is the most viable option, having maybe 5 wells running at the same time, trying to get something around 500-600 gallons a minute. That might make it a little bit more advantageous.
1 and 2 area?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that'd be outstanding.
Yeah. So that would be the
Submersible,
goal.
something like that, a submersible situation or whatever?
We've kind of put a range in here. The range is more on the pitless adapter side of things.
Okay, yeah.
But if you do want to go higher up, and using the existing building would be a cheaper option too for chemical feed there, versus having to do a full plant. And that's kind of why we really want to do the pilot study too, is to determine, what if this blending is a little bit better on the manganese levels, and then you might not even need the full treatment process like as what you have over at filtration basically. So the goal here is to try to take a look at first steps, and it's a long process, and it is there's a lot of data that needs to be crunched to figure out which is the best option for you. But our goal would be to try to reuse existing building, make sure we don't have any issues with chemical capacity. Might need to blow out a wall or something like that, but building a brand new building and all that would be a little bit more expensive. Plus, it's location-wise, where are we going to put that too? There's a lot of wetlands and other things, and obviously where your wells are tends to be where you have sometimes a dangerous species and other environmental concerns. So, option 4 is townwide new source evaluation, which I think we can kind of summarize. I think budget about $45,000 for that desktop study. Everything, all land. It's not been done probably in about 20 plus years or so. And, just looking at not just properties that you own, but potentially properties that you could buy, and wherever we can find a 400-foot radius, which is not, it kind of eliminates some areas right away off the top, but that eliminates the potential, at least, okay, well, what if we want to build a new source and potentially take a look at that, water quality unknown, but if we find a parcel, we can take the next step like we've done over at wells 4, 5, and 6, test well drilling, figure out which way we want to go if that gets to that point. It would be great if we saw something, but water quality is a big thing these days. So, and then option 5 was the Devers well, which there's a reason why they have not been developed. So we don't really think that that's too viable of an option. Which the cost right here, you're going to have some major treatment over there, and it does have some costs. So
It's not an option now anyways, from what I heard from them anyways.
well,
They need that capacity for their permitting, so
right. So DEP had mentioned it during a meeting, and also during our ACO meeting. So we felt that we need to put it at least on the table and kind of show that this is not an option. And then we've since talked to them, and they've like, oh yeah, that's not really a good option. So digest this. My goal would be to kind of present this a little bit more thoroughly with you and kind of talk through everything. If you have questions about it, feel free to ask. Frank and I have been talking throughout this whole project. Our goal is to use that grant money to go towards piloting, and then use the remaining to kind of go towards upgrading your, or at least doing the engineering behind potentially an interconnection upgrade or so, but focusing on the piloting first.
So briefly, just tell me about, somewhere in the report you say our plan is designed for 3 million gallons a day. Is that what you said?
You had a question in your email about 500,000 gallons?
Right, I'm gonna get to that. in a minute.
Okay.
So the plant
I was
is,
gonna start small, but okay.
so the plan is, what's our,
Your average day demand is roughly 1.2, 1.3. And then
but the plan is designed for 3.
you have a peak capacity of over
2.5.
Over 2 point, yeah, so there's, a little buffer there, but
All right. We're looking for the additional 500,000 gallons, which again, you answered the question somewhere in the report, but why the 500,000 gallons? Just a guess. Is that correct?
No, there's no guess.
Okay.
So there's a reasoning for this. So if you add up the capacities currently of well 1 and 3, which have the major treatment needs, or potentially treatment needs and upgrades, if you take that away, and you decide to purchase water instead, you would need roughly about just under 500,000 gallons.
So it's a function of well 1 and 3 that we're trying to replicate somewhere.
Right,
All right,
or
So
what
that
other thoughts?
that wasn't explained in the report, so that's what my question was.
No, and it's not, because this is just telling you what the alternatives
No, I
are.
was just trying
Yes.
to, I mean, I saw the 500,000 gallons a lot, but it,
Draft.
no, I understand. No, I'm not making fun of you, no,
No.
I was just trying to understand the logic of the
Yep.
whole thing, because if you don't need the 500,000 gallons, then the whole report is not needed. So I was trying to figure out why the 500,000 is so, why that number is so significant.
Right.
All right. And then the last page for my thing is the recommendations, you threw them on, I know it's draft. So, I guess you guys need to read the report first before we have this discussion. I mean, it seems like,
This is what we had you for.
no, it seems like there's after reading the report against draft, so whatever, but based on what you gave me for information, it seems obvious we're not gonna tie to Taunton. We talked about this before because of surface water supply, kind of mixing apples and oranges. Yeah, you didn't say that, but I'm just saying,
Chloramines,
Maybe.
other things, yeah.
it seemed like it doesn't seem to match. It seems like Mansfield seems to be an option. More viable now than,
As far as
I'm just reading the report, I'm not saying what you're saying.
They may be the preferred option.
Preferred option if we want to go out of town, but
It did
your recommendation is maybe to stay in town.
Well, it's always, so for your own, what we've been talking to the operators about, and in general, it's cheaper to always make your own water than to purchase water, right? So, and you have viable sources, and everybody has that in their general operating budgets. You need to upgrade those sources, and you need to react to the changing times. Every other community that you're gonna buy from is also gonna have to follow the different rules as well. So, and Mansfield has already gotten ahead of the game and installed a PFAS treatment plant for their wells, and, you guys luckily at this point are doing in pretty good shape except well 3. But I would say that, when you're looking at it, either way, an interconnection upgrade is something that I would highly recommend anyway, just because you want to have multiple different redundancies throughout your system.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I love having them, but I like getting our own water for our own, I look at that more as an emergency thing.
Exactly.
Well, in the last 10 years, you've actually
dependent.
provided water to Mansfield and not
Yeah.
needed it from them. So this
Now, it also says in the report that Mansfield puts fluoride in the water. Would that affect us if we started getting that? Is that gonna?
Let's get a lot of people mad when they don't want it.
Well,
I mean,
I'm just thinking from the
I think
chemical,
Taunton
if there's another
fluoridates as
chemical
well.
in the
I think they
system, is
fluoridate
that
as
gonna-
well.
majority of systems.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
that's another thing to
Taunton's-
consider, getting water from
The
someone else.
chloramines that Taunton uses will probably help us, at least without GTHMs.
You can, but you're at the other end of the system. You still
know,
have
that's-
TH information, so.
If you're considering costs though, the chart you have on page 3, very telling on long-term costs. All the ones that go up are getting water from someone else. All the low ones, long-term, are our own water, so.
Yeah.
so I guess when the report is draft, maybe we should have this discussion.
Well, and this is where we can present in more detail what's actually included here and kind of get into the minutia of what we did not want to necessarily
Yeah.
put in writing yet, because the goal here is to kind of figure out, some of these items are other influencers indicating that maybe you should be looking at a few more alternatives, and that's why the list is 9. There's not normally a 9 alternatives
Right,
list on different things. You have options, now are they really viable? And I think we've kind of come down to about 5 or 6, but, and then I think we just need a little bit more information to take the next step to really figure out what is it gonna cost you in the long run to do this, and and what is the impact of water quality on your system? So we need to have a little bit more information from the different systems that you may want to connect to, and then also have, a better cost analysis to kind of give you that fuel that you need to kind of make some informed decisions.
I still like doing something at well 3 to connect it to the treatment plant. But
That's option 3 here, and it even looks like it's better to do that than to put a PFAS treatment plant in.
There's a lot of
Financially
benefits of land is one thing that you need to find, and then building a treatment plant and having operators to run it. So you're gonna need to have another set of operators, and anytime you start to build treatment plants,
Right.
it's a little bit insignificant in the long run when you're talking about building a treatment plant. So if you're going to treat, you need to first take out iron and manganese, and then you can go with PFAS. So you're gonna basically need to build a filtration plant plus. So,
And the idea for 3 though is there's no treatment plant because it's gonna dilute.
you would
water
basically
and
blend it.
Yeah, that's
and-
what
You'll be back in.
that's what I got out of your
Yeah,
draft.
and you
That's
can-
what I got out of your draft report.
And you pump it if you need it, right? So you don't necessarily use a
Yeah, what
high
do you-
PFAS source if you don't
Have
need
you
it.
Right, right, if you're not same
Have
as
you
that,
been
you use
involved?
it when you need it.
And then you got, well, I don't know what we're thinking about. What's your opinion on this?
My concern is putting all the eggs in one basket. Pumping 3 along with 4, 5, and 6 to one
Okay.
facility.
Then the treatment plant goes down,
If
then
there's an
you're
issue
done.
with that facility, now you're done. I mean, the way it is now, if we lose the facility and we have 1 and 3, we can make up for a little while with storage and get by.
Can you route 3 to the treatment plant, but still leave a tap to put it directly into the system if you had to? In the event the treatment plant would go down? Or would they make you get rid of that option?
So you're really not gonna get enough water either way. If
It doesn't
the
solve
treatment plant
the
goes
issue.
down offline, you only have less than half
You
of
still
it.
need the intermunicipal connections
Okay.
to support whatever you lost. You know, we don't have
That was the gist of what I got out of
multiple
this.
sources that can be
I mean,
self-sufficient.
you were clear on the 1 and 3, tying it into the plant and lost, I mean, that was in here. So,
We've
Yeah.
developed some of them a little bit more than others, obviously.
no, I mean,
Yeah, but yeah.
based on our discussion, I mean, the Taunton desal plant is up, that was not, I mean, the cost here is not some outrageous number. And you have to deal with DOT and federal highway or whatever else, that's not gonna work. So what's the next step?
So we do wanna kinda get the paperwork in for the grant to kinda
Yeah.
get that moving, and then we'll work with Frank to see, I mean, we have budget to kinda finish this, but the next steps would be to go forward with the piloting and getting that contract signed, so we would just need to provide you guys with an updated contract for that.
So my experience is exactly, you portrayed this in the draft rec report about what to do with the backwash. Seems, and that's a problem, you probably have the same problem, Steve, where you are, backwash.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just a universal problem. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess in one of them, you're gonna use bags for PFAS? No.
well, you have filter bags
Yeah.
that you have to remove some sediment and stuff before it goes into the
But
the
it's not
GAC,
carbon,
that's what
right?
you use.
Is that something?
It's carbon.
It's carbon,
We use
so
carbon.
okay, so I know what to do with carbon, so, but hauling it off, I didn't think I liked that option at all, but that's the only option.
I mean, I think we talked a little bit about trying to, get it over to the MFN, but that needs a little bit of discussion.
They
But,
wouldn't take anything from us.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just a problem, it's always a problem. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
It was more
All these
the
dumpsters
amount
need to be back.
that we
Right.
have.
and it depends on the
Just like
volume.
your pool filter.
You'd want to start running over to see how much you're generating,
Generate the law,
and then
Yeah.
kind of go
We
through.
were up at
Which you can't just dump
30,000
in because all the stuff is
Well,
going
it's all
back in.
permanent.
They couldn't support that.
Because
Yeah.
technically,
In a
if you
lot of cases,
backwash
you have to do it into a wetland, that's not gonna work.
PFAS,
But Wind River, we've
it
had
should
good
be,
luck
it
with
should be
Wind.
already
Yeah,
been collected
no,
on the
yeah,
actual
no,
media,
no,
so
yeah.
there shouldn't be any PFAS in the backwash, so.
Yeah.
But getting DEP to, and or the MFN to realize that would take some testing.
I mean,
but-
again, I read it and I said, yeah, it's always been the problem. Based on everything. When Randolph Water Treatment Plant, the backwash basins were adjacent to the water supply.
Mhm.
Talk about a real issue. We had to make sure that they didn't overflow into our intake. Poor planning on their part, but anyways, I mean, I'm just saying it was always a problem.
Yeah, you don't have sewer, you don't have, so your residuals go somewhere. So I just want to make sure you guys had an opportunity to start reading this, because we'd originally indicated that we'd try to get it done by the end of the year, but there seemed to be a little bit more pressure, and I just wanted to kind of have this out there so you could review it and provide some feedback. And we definitely want to continue to explore the viable options and kind of move to those next levels. So, I think if you're comfortable, what we can do is put in here, not considered a viable option on a couple of these, and just kind of move on, and then really explore the ones that we feel that, have merit.
I would delegate that to Frank and you to come up with make those decisions. You guys have a lot more information about this stuff than we do. Doesn't matter what my gut reaction is, it's you guys can look back. Do we do anything did we ask input from the town we got in this, the selectmen? Or is this all us?
This is all us right now. Once we narrow it down, then we'll get involved with.
Are we under
the
pressure
others.
from the selectmen to actually make a decision? Or are they not basically care?
They
care.
They are very curious about what options are on the table and what will be dismissed and why.
Have you,
So we do have to-
have you been pressured by anybody?
I've been talked to by a couple of them, yeah.
Okay. I mean, what do you tell them?
Well, there was more the desal, that was.
Yeah, but that's a couple months ago, they threw that.
No, this was actually just a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
I saw someone,
As in, that's something they like and they wanna,
that's something they really want to pursue. And I don't think they realize the obnoxious cost of this.
yeah, it's way more than all the other eight.
It's not feasible, really not feasible.
So is it are we under pressure to give them an answer?
I don't think really under pressure, I just don't think they want it off the table. I think they need some explanation for themselves, and I think that's fair, so.
So is this something that we should be meeting with them someday
Yes,
on soon?
and I
somewhat,
promoted that,
For
I
sure.
promoted that, and they're very open to that, and they want that.
So we have a PowerPoint drafted. We talked originally when we were on a call with Frank a couple weeks ago about potentially setting up a meeting with you guys and the town manager to bring them in, if you wanted to attend too. But I wanted to present this to you so you can just kind of see it a little bit more, get a little bit more information
That
on
might be a
it.
good idea to invite them as well, to that.
And if you're ready for that, if this draft is enough for you to kind of go on, to at least have your basis, you guys are our clients first. I mean, that's where we go
Right,
through. So
right.
if the commission is we're willing to have whoever you want.
Does that have to be in one of our regular meetings, or can we just make any special meeting for that if we want to?
So we talked a little bit about the executive session question on whether or not, there is some cost implications of what you're going to negotiate with other communities potentially with purchasing of water.
Yep,
So
yep.
there's some assumptions that we would recommend that you would have in an intermunicipal agreement, and other things. So as the new town manager, we thought that would be something that we've always run that by Mike before in the past. So we run it by that, and then so the select board having them, maybe they send a representative. I don't know, because if they don't, or a couple of the folks instead of, so they don't have a quorum. I don't know, but
It definitely sounds executive session-y.
It does. I've floated that email to the town manager to get his thoughts on that and how he wishes to proceed and who should be involved in that meeting.
So is the town manager aware of any of this stuff?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
doesn't have the draft, but it's definitely.
No, I don't know where he sits. I mean, I don't know what he knows. I don't know what anybody knows.
He has very limited knowledge of stuff that's taken place prior to his arrival. We've slowly been bringing him up to speed on some of the key issues. The ACO is definitely one of them. And he is the one that facilitated the meetings with Mansfield and Taunton almost immediately after finding out about the ACO and doing his own homework on it. So
Good.
he's definitely on our side, understanding the needs.
Well, I want to make sure he stays on our side, and I want to make sure that we can give him what he needs from us.
Yep. Definitely.
I mean, we have the information. I know you don't want to issue that to anybody because it's just a draft. But, so when are we aiming to do something soon for meeting-wise?
We need to get the draft cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll wait to hear back from Mr.
Yeah, there's a few
Booth.
highlighted, obviously, that we wanna make sure it's clear, we did not get that information in time, but, yeah, so I think there's a little bit we can fill in here, there's a couple key things that I think we should have. Obviously, the 2 spelling errors would be caught, thank you.
So
And-
my comment about Birch Street and Leonard, I don't know about Leonard, but that must have been recently paved.
It
But, you
was
know,
as part of the.
I moved into Norton about that time, so I don't really know about when that, but Birch Street was just paved
It was
just
just.
past summer, so
Yeah.
just keep that in mind. Maybe
Yeah,
they
no,
do that.
and there's a couple, well, there's some water main improvements that we have in a couple different, in the overall 20-year plan.
I just thought you should be aware of it in
Yep.
case you weren't aware.
Oh,
It's like-
yeah.
It's like finding about the high pressure line,
Right.
better you should know than not know.
We designed a water street, and then the next thing we know, somebody drove by and said, hey, it got paved, and we're like, oh, okay, all
Can't
right.
do that.
Well, we'll just hold off 5 to 7 years for that.
Well, it happens, trust me.
Yep,
So that's what my comments were all about.
I appreciate that, yeah.
I figured that London Street must have been paved because it used to be a driving range.
Yep.
Yep.
I moved in just
Into that
when,
driving range.
just the day they closed the driving range is when I moved in. Just
Oh, yeah?
to
They
get-
saw your clubs, and they're like, closing.
So disappointed. So,
All right, we have an abatement.
Yeah, Brooke sent us an email about 7
Yep,
Patton
I
Road.
read that.
You guys read through that?
yeah, just make a motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I would like to make a motion to approve an abatement for 7 Patton Road in the amount of $159.27.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have one left over from the last meeting, 8 Flint. Do you know anything about it?
I do not.
Okay, so what we did, according to the minutes anyways, they were gonna have the meter tested, the meter was tested. You don't know the results of that right now. Okay, so maybe we should just table that to next one. Because I don't have enough information other than as a friend.
Oh, that was, oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Remember she had a high water bill?
Yep, yep, I do remember.
Did we already table it 1 month,
And
maybe?
then
Tabled it,
Okay.
and I said to have her meter tested, the meter was tested. I do not know really what the results are, other than the fact that I'm pretty sure that the meter's fine.
Right, but we should know for sure before we.
But we really
Right,
should
I
know for
have
sure.
copies of that, yeah. I know the testing has been very slow to return the
Yeah.
results.
Yeah, I don't know.
If they're
Do we have a
inaccurate.
motion to table that again? Or can
We
we just?
actually.
You just don't take it off the table, but don't.
Yeah, we'll just leave it and we'll reinvestigate it next
We
time.
had one that came back out of range, first time I've seen that.
We just send it.
Wow.
Very good.
Yeah, we
I
got-
thought that never happened.
Well,
That's right.
not usually on residential unless it's
Well,
got a
maybe it
little
has to do with
moving
the
parts that might have broken.
submersible pumps that are only last 700 hours.
It could be. Same manufacturer.
Do you have a test bench?
No, we don't. We did away with it just because nobody was believing our result.
Yeah, we
because
give them the
we're
option.
the only entity.
But no one's gonna do it, right, yeah. But we-
You're not gonna believe this, but I don't have any other questions.
Are you sure? I think you're forgetting something.
Well, with that being said, does anyone else have anything else they wanna bring up?
Yeah, just the next meeting, that's a good time.
Next meeting?
Make a motion quick.
We need a next
I got
date,
the 9th, is that
The
right?
9th it is, yeah.
December 9th,
Imagine
the
that.
anniversary for the town.
That's what I have.
Is that the town's anniversary, really?
Well, that's
it
my
is.
anniversary when I got
Oh,
hired.
your anniversary, okay.
Oh, I was gonna say the charter.
Cool. Maybe we'll bring a treat in then.
That's a weird thing to have in your calendars.
Yeah.
I thank you very much,
Yeah,
both
sure.
of you, for coming.
No problem at all.
We good?
Yep,
All right, I make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Good night, everybody. Aye.
thank you, everybody.